Hello and welcome to episode 310 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes a big noise. Don't be confused. I'm Tony Esmond and my hips do not lie. Joining us as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Mr. Dan Butcher.
Hello.
Hello. That Hollow Girl cover, mate. Fucking hell.
Oh, you like that one?
Yeah, mate, love it.
Out well.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
Lots of fun to do that.
You may have noticed that Vincenzo Banana's Hunt is not with us this week. I know that's his name because I sent him a letter this week with that name on it. He's not well. He's a bit sick and he's just messaged us saying, I haven't shit myself. Hang on a minute, that may not be right. So, yeah, he's definitely not well. So, everyone send him some good vibes and send him new pictures of yourselves. That should help. But get well soon, Vince.
Yeah, Vince. Hope you feel better soon, mate.
Should we start a campaign to send him arse wipes as well?
Yes. Yeah.
And joining us this week.
Yes. And stepping in at the last moment. Thank you very much. You're a couple of old pals, not so old. The couple that are an artistic powerhouse called ArtNineTwo. Yes, it's only Damien and Helena Edwardson. Hello.
Hello.
Helena,
Hello.
is it Helena or Helena? I know I get confused.
Well, it's Helena, but everyone calls me H.
H. I always call you H, don't I? Yeah, so I was trying to be polite there. Yeah.
And I hate to be one of those people, Tony, but we're technically a poorhouse, not a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Is that because you're in the north?
Where did the
I won't
ArtNineTwo...
help. It's northern hate speech. I've told you before.
Where did the ArtNineTwo name come from? Did we ever ask that?
I think I know, but should we ask them anyway? Where did ArtNineTwo come from, geezers?
Oh, Damien's looking at me now going, you can ask the question. It's when we got together, 1992.
All right.
So when it comes to thinking of a name for the business, you know, you go round and round and round in circles thinking, that doesn't sound right, that doesn't sound right, that sounds shit. And then we just kind of thought, well, you know, we got together then and with us both being artists and that's it, really.
Yeah, unfortunately, we checked out and a few domain names had gone, like, pleasebuyOurShit.com had gone. So that out the window.
Yeah.
But,
I think BeMyFriend.com is already taken by a number of people on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in the end, we just went, I think it's one of the first ideas we came up with as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we circled back
And
to it, didn't
you
we?
kind of go back round the loop after
Yeah.
you just told me all my other ideas were shit. So we went.
That's quite romantic, though, isn't it? 1992. That's
Yeah.
nice. I like that.
Have you ever done
I
that?
think I'd have got out by now if I'd committed a crime, shall we say?
Yeah. It was before I was born.
Yeah.
Could have been a good year, that.
Alas.
At least it wasn't the place, because if me and my partner did that, it would have been up behind the bins. You know?
Jesus.
Art behind the bins.
Behind the bins by Chicken Cottage.
It's in the motorway
We had a
services.
rancid coleslaw.
Oh, that would have been another one.
Well, welcome back. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for asking.
You've both been busy. In fact, we'll talk about it in a bit, but Damien has been extremely busy. Yesterday he sent me something, which is glorious. So we'll talk about that. Daniel, where else is busy?
On Comic House.
Yes. Comic House is an indie comic marketplace with a difference. There's a huge selection of titles on their database, and if you self-publish, you can list your book on there for a small fee and start selling straight away. No, I'm not reading this, but it sounds good, doesn't it? Doing all right?
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got a new mic, so I'm not right up close to it. Put your mouth right close to the
Honestly,
mic.
it sounds better. It
Oh,
does
that's
sound
good.
better, Mike.
Okay. They have a featured section on their site and also have their own app. It's like Netflix for comics. For only £3 a month, you can get access to an enormous, I like the word enormous, library of digital indie comics. Huge is another good word. What great stuff can they find on there at the moment, Vince? No, Dan. Fucking hell. I've written the wrong name. That's okay. It's like Anchorman, this, isn't it? I just write the wrong thing in my own script, so fuck it up.
The Bad Place.
Right.
Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies, Volume 1, Issue 4. We can get extra shitty stories. I've yet to check that out.
We need to. You keep saying about that. We need to read that.
Every week.
Yeah.
Of the same coin, Issue 1, we've got Vanguard, Issue 19, and we've got Duck City, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
I've never heard of Duck City.
No.
Yeah.
It's from all the way down under.
Oh, right. I wonder if that was one of those things when you try and write a certain word on tweets or text and it comes up with the word duck.
I tried to tweet something today and it came up with a warning saying, "You sure you want to tweet this?"
Really?
Swearing. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Someone said something about I stomped a toothbrush to death, an electric toothbrush, it wouldn't turn off.
Yeah.
And someone said that's one in the eye for Skynet, and I went, "You're terminated, fucker." And it came up with a kind of thing saying, "Are you sure you want to say this? Does it not go against community standards?"
Oh, no, you get the police at your door. Hate speech.
I'll tell you, I've got one from Facebook because I reposted what Eric Clapton said, like on stage, like years ago, saying he fucking said this is outrageous.
Oh, he went a
and I
bit
posted
racist
it.
on stage, didn't he, Eric?
A bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he put his foot right down, and I got like a community ban. They
Oh,
said,
right.
"You did this again, you get
You got
fucking
a
kicked off the
strike
platform."
against you is what they call it,
Yeah.
don't they, in the extremist movements? Yeah.
So, there you go.
I was watching Eric Clapton. I watched the thing on the band this morning
Oh,
in the
okay.
early hours. I like the band.
So what was going on there then? Let's tackle the weighty issue of racism on the
I don't know. Apparently, I'll say racism's bad. Don't do it. There you go, sorted. Yeah, take that, haters.
Yeah. We'll have the CGs after us, you know.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson will be turning this off.
Flicking the off switch, changing over to what would he listen to?
It's quite funny because the
Capers?
guy I know was saying he'd been banned for Facebook for a while and he'd just come back because he'd commented on a boxing match.
All
But I
right.
think he sort of said, "Yeah, I hope he, something like paraphrasing, I hope he knocks his fucking head in or something." And they banned him.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's what he's
it's what they're
supposed to
doing.
be doing.
Yeah. Has anyone ever watched the boxing match? Don't watch boxing. Boxing, it's cancelled. Boxing is cancelled. Isn't there some like YouTuber fighting someone today or something? Is that right?
I don't know.
Is there any good?
know.
We'll be speaking
Logan
about good
Paul,
sporting
wasn't
comics
he?
later. Sorry.
Logan Paul, that chap, one of the YouTube, the Logan brothers. I think he was fighting. Oh, he's always fighting someone. There's
Oh,
always,
is he?
it's their thing now to sort of do boxing matches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Okay. Well, we'll be talking about sporting comics later, similar to boxing, but not quite.
I had a boxer turn up to my house today.
Is it?
That's a fact. I was flogging my punch bag and frame, and this boxer turned up. He said, "I've just driven all the way from fucking Brighton. I'm knackered." And I said, "Well, the frame's a bit rusted." He goes, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'd have come up if I'd have known that." And I said, "Well, I told my wife to say that on the fucking post." But he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you 10 or less." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to say to a boxer that's driven like for over an hour to get this."
Mind, he's not
punch
mock. You know, you got to do 3 minutes in the ring. He's a bit of a shit boxer if he's tired from driving.
I don't think he was tired. He was just annoyed.
Oh,
Not
right.
being
Okay.
funny, Dan. I'd have got your missus out. She'd have fucking sorted him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a good
She'd
Unfortunately,
right.
probably give you a tenner more just to stop
Now.
hitting him.
So I was like, "Yeah, mate, just take it and go. I just don't want to ever deal with Facebook Marketplace ever again."
Weird, isn't it? It's a weird place.
It's a weird place.
Social media is a weird place. Anyway, let's go back to this because we haven't finished it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So to find out more, start your 14-day free trial and dive headfirst into the amazing world of small press that we talk about every week. Check out comichouse.com. And we never say this, but it's comic then Haus, comichouse.com.
It's Bauhaus.
House. I had someone say to me, I can't find it. So I have to spell it right for them.
We almost did a perfect ad, but we fucked it up again with a story
On the
aside,
side. Yeah.
which is usually how we do it. So
think that
everything's
works
on
all right.
track.
Yeah, it's going all right. Yeah. We're talking of social media can be a bit of a dangerous place. Helena's found that recently.
Top of the bill.
She's gone quite right. We're moving on. Anyway.
There was talk earlier this week of the, we mentioned the past couple of weeks running now, the Demon Slayer comic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely trashing the US sales.
I was listening to the Gutter Boys podcast. And I don't know, I've just started listening to it because Eddie Raymond was on there from Strangers, and I listened to the following week, and it had the good Van Sciver on it. And they were saying that, is it Demon Slayer? Is that what it's called, Dan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer has sold more issues than the whole of Marvel and DC put together in the last year.
Bloody hell.
Quite a lot.
I've not verified that in any way, but they were saying it. Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be of going round and round that story. I presume at some point someone would have popped up and said, actually, that's not the case. Here's the counter. But even if they didn't, it's obviously sold phenomenally well.
Yeah.
It's
Bloody
kind
hell.
of a bit galling, really.
Have you
But
guys
then-
read it? What, H and Damon, have you ever read it? Or
No.
No.
No, is it manga?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
The
must admit-
dismissive tone in your voice.
No, I didn't mean that way. I was going to say.
He's always dismissive.
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm going to have the manga hate mob on me, aren't I? Apart from Junji
No, you
Ito, I've
beat
never
him up
really
easy.
read any manga. I've trouble reading left to right, and mine back to front.
That's the thing. I have trouble. It freaks me out. It makes me paranoid that I won't be able to read a comic properly, a Western comic properly, because I'll have read an Eastern style printing process.
Honestly, like you get used to it so quickly. There's a couple of times when you come to a page and you think, "How do I read this?" And then you say, "Oh, like that," and it's okay. But yeah, I can understand what you mean. When I first started like reading right to left, you're like, "Oh God, this is a bit odd."
Because a lot of companies would translate it over, wouldn't they? Years ago. That seems to have stopped now, I think, mostly,
I can understand in a way, like all the character designs are flipped and like the way they... To be fair, would it bother you guys if the comic you made was flipped for an Eastern audience? I don't think it would bother me that much.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think I'd be bothered.
No.
I'd
just be glad they'd done anything with it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I'll be waiting for those millions to roll in.
Get precious. I want to do it. But that's quite a thing. Like, and like they did the comics, and then they did that the film, which went absolutely nuts, and that in turn boosted up the sales of the book because everyone thought, "Oh shit, the film's done. Let's see how the story continues." But then I see like just a mentalness from the Marvel stuff, where the comic series are announcing like the death of Doctor Strange in the comics, and it's like you've got a film coming out with Doctor Strange. What are you doing? Why are you going to introduce all these huge audience to this character, and then they jump over to the comics, and then you're killing them off in the comics?
But they've tried that twice recently, where they've tried to make someone else, fit into Doctor Strange's role, and it just hasn't worked either time.
No. I think honestly, it's best. I really don't like legacy characters keep on saying, "Oh, like here's a new Judge Dredd." It's not Joe Dredd, it's Malcolm Dredd or whatever. Just make a new character from scratch.
Yeah. I would love to see Malcolm Tucker as Dredd. That would be good.
That'd be excellent. Yeah. Judge Tucker.
Get the fuck in or fuck the fuck out of this ISO cube. That'd be good.
Fucking great. Yeah.
They can't get a handle on this kind of TV and movie world, though, and the correlation with comics. I know you've talked about this before, but if you were going to announce a film, surely you'd make sure that you'd line that up with the comics kind of canon at least. But then again,
Yeah, I know.
No.
But even surely in the comic, you would react to what the film department was doing. Like whoever was the bigger one, the leader, which would be the film department. So they get the Doctor Strange film, the Multitudes of Madness, whatever it's kind of, can't remember. It's Multi-Dimensions of Madness. It's coming out in November. We want our comic to be like a jumping on point issue around the same time. So people can watch the film and then come onto the comic and they know where they're going.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the great things that Lucasfilm when it got sold to Disney, and that's one of the few good things that Disney did when they kind of made this agreement that from now on all new products will be canon, whether it's comics, video games, cartoons. So Rebels. I don't know if you've ever seen Rebels. I imagine it's probably on Disney Plus.
Right.
But that was a great show, that, and but it all tied into the canon, and then you'd see little kind of Easter eggs in the new films that would link you back into the comics and link you back into the cartoon, and it really worked. I mean, once they started bringing in computer games, it got a bit tricky then, because I don't. So, but the overall arc of the kind of computer game would be canon, and obviously what happened within it wasn't. But they did do that really well. It's a shame they didn't write the actual trilogy.
Don't get Dan started. One of Dan's favourites. This is.
They had an interview with what's the guy, Bad Robot, who done the first one and the new Star Trek films. God,
the guy from Buffy, that guy.
Lost. He was one of the directors behind it.
Oh, okay.
I'm totally blanking on his fucking name.
I don't really watch Star Wars.
The new Star Trek films.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, yeah. Basically, he said, we didn't have a story. We all know. We all watched the films. We know you didn't have a story for free.
They changed creative teams as well, though, because, they had Lord and Miller on Han Solo. That went. I can't remember who they had originally lined up for the second of the new trilogy, but he bailed because of something, and they just kept swapping it around. Yeah. And they did have this strange theory where it was like, we'll let each person write their own story. So I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I thought, it was basically...
Was that the first
Star
one?
Wars again. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that's all right.
It's still a really, really enjoyable film.
It's fun, yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed them all, but then again, I would do Star Wars. But you do kind of wish that if they plotted it out across the 3 films, it could have been equally as magnificent as the trilogy, but that was a weird way to approach it. And then to get such different visionaries as well, very different people directing each episode. Well, the middle episode particularly.
And it's not like not these people doing it in their spare time. Like this is $1 billion industry, and you're just letting it fly in the wind. That'll work. That'd be fine.
Lack of organisation in mediums that are meant to entertain us. I can't imagine that's the case. Can you? Valiant Comics. Yeah.
And well, we can spin this on to the next subject.
Oh yes,
which we've earmarked. Would we say the MCM stuff?
Well, I was thinking we could do that and slide into let's do MCM. So we can have a little bit of a chat about conventions in general with our 2 gorgeous guests. So I didn't see this. I only saw this because Dan Harris stuck something up, didn't he? About the prices of MCM prices for a weekend is now £85 for a weekend entry.
Yes, for like a single person going in for a weekend.
85 quid.
85 quid. So if I wanted I know you get those kind of people who cosplay and they go there like just for the 3 days and they have 3 days worth of costumes, but like how are they going to be buying anything? Like it's just nuts.
Is it 3 days or is it 2 days now?
Isn't it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Well, I wondered, because looking at that, I mean, because it's about, I think it's something like 28 quid on the Friday, 38 quid on the Saturday and the Sunday or something like that. It's around those numbers.
Right. Which
adds up to about, just 120 quid if you do the 3 days.
Yeah.
And I wondered whether when they said the weekend, whether that was just going to be the Saturday and the Sunday. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I doubt it because the maths wouldn't work. But I don't know. It's just strange coining it as a weekend ticket when it's actually a 3-day event that starts on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the process of trying to contact them, and they are not the easiest people to contact.
No.
And to book a table for Nobrow, and I think they're because you pay per square foot. I think it is per square meter or per square foot. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right.
For space for your table in not a non-artist alley table, and that's gone up by about 15%. I think 15-20%.
Okay. But are they going to do less people there? That's why they've increased the ticket.
Well, New York's
price.
doing less, aren't they? New York have put a cap on it, I think.
But then, like less people going in means less money to spend in the hall.
Yeah.
But aren't they supplementing it though by doing an online pass now that you can buy? I saw that as well.
An online pass.
Yeah, where you can basically have like a virtual pass to all the MCM events, and you can get you get a free badge. So
but essentially, that's going to be like a web. They're going to stream a video of someone on stage, which
isn't YouTube full of stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just have that for free anyway.
Yeah. I mean, have you guys ever thought about? Have you ever done MCM? I don't think you have. And have you ever thought about it?
We looked at it. We did get in touch with them once to do Manchester, because Manchester, for all its, I've issues with MCM, and we've never had any luck when it comes to kind of mixed events. Really, they've never really been for us.
Right.
But we did look into it, didn't we? H? And the cost was just. It was too much. I mean,
we were never going to make it back.
It was something like 250 quid or something ridiculous.
Right.
And
okay.
It was like, well, we're not going to make that. We're not going to make that money over a weekend.
And quite right, like you said, Dan. If they're obviously, if they're restricting people, and they're also restricting people, and those people are spending however much it is on ticket, they're not going to have the money to spend when they come in. You know, so people like us, I mean, it's different because, like we were talking about before, weren't we? That people are if they're going to spend that kind of money, they're going to go and see the top stars. They're going to bypass your table with your your independent stuff and go straight to them. So it really wouldn't be worth our while, to be honest.
And it's true, isn't it? I mean, I know they've got to pay the way and they've got to fund all this stuff, and I'm sure there will be extra things in place they need to pay for. But every quid you put on a ticket on the door is a quid less, as H says, that people are going to spend on the tables, isn't it? And we can't compete. There's it'd be fucking pointless us going, to be honest.
You kind of got to go and low brow hit, haven't you? You've got to do the I've got these pictures of stormtroopers, or you know, the black cat with a bum out or
I
something.
don't
You know,
understand. Like you're paying for stuff to go in there, but like to meet your celebrities, you got to pay for that. Everything's like you got to pay extra on top of it. So why am I paying £80 to go into place? I've got to spend. You're paying on the door to go into a shop.
Yeah,
The prices are over the top.
It's just mad.
Doesn't work for me.
Surely because obviously, you know, I know a couple of organisers like yourselves, you know, so if you look at Den Whittle, for example, with Oldham.
yeah.
And Den works his bollocks
I
off.
must do that one day. I've missed it. Yeah,
Oldham is such a good event, honestly.
Yeah.
And Den basically works a bit like Stuart Mulroney. He works all throughout the year raising the funds to run the event, so he can basically keep the cost like, you know, as minimal. And Den does it in a way that he applies for grants and, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And that's why he's never charged at his events, and he's always said that, you know, it will always be free entry to people.
That's good.
And Oldham was brilliant because we saw people coming into Oldham that would never have come to a standard. They couldn't afford £20 a ticket, £80 a weekend ticket, whatever it might be, or a family ticket.
Because it was whole families, wasn't it? Coming in?
Yeah.
Never afford that.
Yeah, and it was kids coming in with the parents, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
You know, and you could see that it was their first event.
Yeah, Macclesfield's a bit like that, you know.
Yeah.
I think Macclesfield's the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are ways they can do it. You're not telling me that MCM, with all their pulling power, because aren't they part of Reed Pop and all that?
Yeah, they are now, yeah. Yeah.
Surely they can offset some of this cost by getting some decent marketing and agreements, and, you know,
Because
I mean, somebody needs to pull the socks up, I think.
Those big stars, surely, like, you go in, like, whatever money you earn on this day is yours. We're not paying you a fee to turn up.
Yeah.
And if you're charging £40 for your signature and you can bang one out every 5 minutes, surely that's going to be worth your while very quickly.
I remember going
I've
to
heard
one,
stories
and
of them.
the Chasers from The Chase were there.
Who was that storytelling? Like, there were celebs going home with, like, black bin liners full of notes.
Yeah, well, that guy, is it Stephen Amell? Doesn't he own the booking agency that books a lot of these things now?
Right, okay.
Right.
Isn't it? Yeah, that was quite a shrewd business move by him, because they started seeing all these people going. You're like, who's that dude with the crossbow in Walking Dead and stuff like that? All these people were going along, and they were like hundreds of thousands of pounds over a weekend, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I know some of the costs of getting these people over as well is phenomenal. It's like absolutely. I was at one event, and they were saying that they tried to get Arnie over for an event,
Right.
signing, and I think he wanted at least guaranteed 400 grand before he'd even consider it.
Fucking hell.
And you're like, shit. But
Ima-
I mean, the other side though is if you got him, could you imagine?
Oh, imagine.
Yeah,
Here's
it's
what I'm
nuts.
imagining. I'm imagining me, Dan, and Vince. We're setting up the table. We're shouting at each other as usual, you know. And like a shadow passes over Dan's face, and he just goes a little bit transfixed. And he goes, "That's Arnie."
Yeah, I literally don't think I'd be able to handle that. I would short circuit.
But so, you know, I do appreciate there are costs involved in running these events, and we all knew, let's be honest, that ticket prices were going to go up after missing an entire year and a bit. You know, we were kind of all aware of that, weren't we? They were going to try and make some money back. But again, though, it's the deeper problem, isn't it? That a lot of people go to these events. MCM might be a bit different than maybe a standard kind of traditional comic event, but how many of them are around anymore? You know, not many, and we go to most of them, don't we? But every kid that can't afford to go into one of those events and go down the Artist Alley and pick up new comics or discover the love of comics is another comics fan we'll never get.
Yeah.
And that's what really worries me about this. Is it's all about this short-term pop culture.
Yeah, you're gripping
shit
tighter
about
and
who's
tighter
on-
on what you've got.
It was on fucking MTV or whatever. I'm like, how old am I? But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, it is all this, like, who's on the latest TV show. And meanwhile, the comics industry, which actually gives birth to this fucking event, is dying in the corner of starvation.
I mean,
Really worries me.
I'll agree with you around MCM. I'm not a big defender of it, but I think it's worth remembering that Artist Alley takes up a good chunk of floor space.
It does.
And doesn't make them a huge amount of money.
No.
And is poorly attended compared to a lot of the rest of the floor space as well.
Yeah.
Yet they seem to continue with it. I mean, I hope that's
I hope they keep on doing it. But
I wonder, is that for
you get a lot of foot
credibility for
traffic.
people like us who go, well, you're not a fucking Comic-Con, are you? Do you know what I mean? Or is it, there's some people on the staff there who think, no, we're a fucking Comic-Con.
Well, they don't even fucking flog comics there.
Very rarely, do they?
That's the only representation of people selling comics. It seems to be like that. Like,
And the no-brow table, which is very good. Pop by.
Yeah, obviously, no-brow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, we all accept that they've got to make money and they've got to go with the business model of what's popular. You know, nobody's having a pop at them for that. But I do think it's a shame, though, that it's just pricing people out of having a full experience. And power to them for having that artist alley. I mean, great. You know, they've got a decent one at Manchester. You know, they really did have a decent sort of artist alley there. But the problem is, how many kids around Manchester are going to be able to afford 28 quid a ticket or something?
Yeah,
I'll tell you now,
Christ,
none.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough.
We don't even know
times.
how much a table's going to be to get a table in our salary. If it's like that much for a 3-day weekend, God knows.
Last time we tabled was the last one from No-Brow, and they had I had like a specific agent attached to me because we're obviously spending a few quid to buy a sort of a booth, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm ringing the dude; he's not answering his phone.
Yeah.
I think they're just waiting to see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
But then they've got what are they doing?
I know.
Well, it's not like there's any other cons going on.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's going to be the first one back.
there is that. I'm quite interested in that Meanwhile con.
Okay, yeah. You sent me the thing for
The
that.
Coventry one.
Yeah, being organised by Simon Myers. And I know a lot of the guests are going to be Zoomy guests, but it's looking... Because isn't Coventry some kind of cultural city of art or something this year? You know, one of those sort of things.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was... was it the... Oh, yeah. It's City of Culture, isn't it?
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right.
And it looks quite interesting. I've reached out to them, actually, because we've got a friend in common, to get a table. I've not heard back yet, but I'm looking forward to that, because Dave Johnson, Dan Panosian, I think, are Skyping in, aren't they, I think?
Wow, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. And they're good guests to have, you know?
It'll be interesting. You have to keep an eye on that one. I always kind of champion a new bloody Comic-Con coming along.
Yeah.
Especially when it's done by comics people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And Simon Myers is a great artist. Yeah, superb artist.
You know, he's been around for a few years, hasn't he? And, you know, so it's... maybe it's a light at the end of the tunnel. Who knows? I mean, maybe we might see a bit of a resurgence of these. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, thinking if you lined up your perfect year of conventions that you would go to, there's so many good ones that people would never have heard of. You know, things like Leamington and Nottingham and all these events, Oldham.
Yeah.
You know, they're brilliant comics events, aren't they? And I just kind of hope that they all come back after all this.
Yeah, I don't think Leamington are running this year. I've got a feeling. I'm not sure about Nottingham. I keep meaning to reach out to Kevin Kell. But do you know about Oldham at all? Is that running?
I spoke to Dan. He's not running this year,
right?
But he's definitely looking at 2022.
Yeah.
Just because he's not. Last time I spoke to him, he was kind of quite honest and said, "I'm not even convinced anything's going to happen again this year."
It's all a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so much uncertainty.
Because he has to put so much time and effort into raising the funds and stuff.
We got to reach out to him.
Get
get
grants, and then you don't put an event on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Might not get that going again.
But I believe 2022 he's going to come back. I mean, much like True Believers talked to Stuart, isn't it? I mean, hopefully, that's going to kick off again next year. And
I think that's still looking like February next year. Is that still right? I think that's still the case.
So, yeah.
He'll tell me,
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
There's some brilliant comic events though, aren't there? That aren't the big multimedia events, and they're the ones I'm looking forward to more than anything.
I mean, what do you two guys do? Do you, if you're sitting at your table, are you both heads down drawing, or are you who's the sort of personable one and who's the artist one? That's what I always think there is. Do you,
you should know by now, Tony. I'm the personable one,
and I'm the personable too. I very rarely draw actually at events. I've only ever done. I think I've only ever drawn really. I drew at Lawless a little bit.
Okay.
A couple of on the day jobs there, but I've never done it because I don't know. It's a bit strange, really. But we talked about this before we started tabling, and I always find it a bit awkward to be like, because we've always worked in kind of like service, before we worked for the university and stuff. So we've always done like frontline jobs where we worked in retail and things like that.
Yeah, it's a bit like me. I was a butler for many years.
I hate you, Butler.
Oh dear.
But it's that thing about I've always got this belief that if you're going to be at a table and people are going to come to you, you need to be completely available to chat to people if you want to, and not distracted doing other things. Because there's nothing pisses me off more than you go up and somebody's too busy doing something else, and you're kind of like, well, I was going to spend money with you, but
even
I hate that so much.
I hate that beyond words.
We'll do commissions if people ask us on the day.
I've taken commissions and taken them away. As in, like, people have said, "Oh, do you do?" Yeah,
And
so that's
pre-event commissions. We do more of, which is the way that we're trying to go, because that's a good way of us ensuring we can cover the cost of the table as well.
When you arrive, aren't you? You can just be social when you arrive if you want, because it's paid for. Yeah. There's nothing worse than going up to a table and going, "Oh, I really like this art," and
I know.
Yeah.
And you get, to be fair, I've had that with some creators who weren't drawing. They just sat there and basically just looked straight through you, and you're like, okay, then,
And not even just the women. I mean, I get ignored by the women quite a lot, but,
Yeah, there's a reason for that, Tony.
Yeah, you're probably right. Listen, I haven't been contacting you on Instagram.
Yeah, you need to get on the messengers on Instagram, Tony. And I'm not going to answer you back, you know that,
I've got some uncooked sausage.
I won't mind. That's one of them people trying to tap her on Instagram. I didn't have any luck.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to create a fake profile and message you, Damien. I think catfish you.
Cheer me up.
One of my friends tried to get picked up on Words with Friends, like just that Scrabble game.
Oh yeah,
Scrabble, not Scrabble. And she gets some bloke start playing, and then they start asking all these pictures in the message between players. Why so I'm married, and then they quit the game.
Right.
Is that really how you're reaching out? Is like
it's really seedy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it doggy with a Y or IE?
Yeah. Is huge penis one word?
How many L's in fellatio? Depends if you're Welsh.
Alistair. I've told you my story about being in Wales, haven't I? I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay. Just you watch that hate speak.
I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping Thought Bubble's still going to go ahead.
Yes, nice segue, D-Man.
This year, I mean, I was all like, yeah, Thought Bubble, and then the missus says, well, if it goes ahead, and I was thinking, oh fuck.
No, we're being positive. Really, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. I really hope it goes ahead.
I chatted to Chloe this week, so we're looking forward to it.
That's my fucking light at the end of the tunnel. I've got everything kind of going towards Thought Bubble.
That's the thing. You need goals, don't you? We've reached that point now in the year that you start looking at the stats and looking at the figures for infections and think, God, it's going up, it's going down, and you're thinking there's got to be light at the end of the tunnel. You need these things to look forward to. Otherwise, all it is just work home, or in a lot of cases, it's home because you're doing the work at home. You just want to get out and see people and see faces and speak to someone different.
No, I've put in a few quid. I've splashed out for like a suite in the hotel, just for the dead hookers and stuff. And I'm really hoping it's going to work out. Yeah.
To be fair though, Tony, have you ever seen a Yorkshire suite? You know what I mean? It just means you've got all the mushrooms you can eat on the back of the bathroom door.
You've got 2 extra biscuits. Yeah.
I stayed in a Yorkshire hotel once and they stole my towels. You know what I
mean? Well, I want to kind of weigh out for like a new thing behind, that poster thing you have, the stand.
Oh, the roller thing.
Yeah, roller banner.
Maybe get one of them and like invest in a few quid in sort of bits and bobs. But I'm still sort of holding fire for the time being.
Yeah. I've got it all in it's all crated up in the garage, like all the no-brow roller banners and, the table stuff and all that sort of thing. And I keep thinking, I need to go in the garage and just like count it all up again.
Good.
I'll just go in there, make sure that no water's got in there and come out again. Tends to be the way to it, It's,
make sure there's no little nibbles on it by mice.
I know. It's a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, when we do start tabling at convention, it's going to be amazing, isn't it? I mean, I'm so looking forward to actually just.
I'm going to just lose my mind.
Yeah. It will be nice. I mean, and again, I think it'll be different. I think it'll be a different experience than what it used to be. But it'll just be so nice to be in an environment like that.
Yeah.
Just surrounded by comics and comics people and people. You think about it's nearly 2 years since we've seen a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know.
It's mad, isn't it?
It was a weird one because there was a little blip, a little unpleasant blip in social media where everyone thought they could just say what they like about people. And then it's coming round to conventions and you think These people are going to have to see certain people. This
Yes.
is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of guests at Thought Bubble, which we are, Frank Miller.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've kind of, for me, he's one of the titans.
He's Mount Rushmore, isn't he? We were talking about
Titans,
this earlier,
yeah.
Dee, weren't we? He's a Mount Rushmore guest for me. I've seen him on stage, never spoke to him. Look, I'm hoping I'll get a chance.
I mean, for good or ill, fucking Dark Knight. That the shadow looms large after fucking everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
changed
I mean,
comics,
when we
didn't
had
it?
Batman '89,
Yeah.
arguably.
Yeah.
It changed comics, Dark Knight. I've said this before. I mean, again, it's one of those issues, Frank Miller, isn't it, where do you separate the person from the work? And sometimes, you have to do that with people, don't you? But he is an absolute legend, isn't he? I mean, he really, and that's not using the word like everyone's a fucking legend these days, but he genuinely is one of those people that, when I saw that pop up, I mean, I had the same reaction, like, fucking hell,
Yeah. To me, he's the only person on that guest list who will still be remembered as a legend, like you say, in 20 years' time.
Oh, without a doubt.
And was a legend 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time he was over here? Wasn't it a London film?
Did do an MCM or a film thing, definitely.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I know
Was
he's
that when
not
the
cheap, though.
second Sin City came out? Something like that, was it? I'm guessing.
I can't recall. Recall. But I know it wasn't that long ago.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, he did. It's just a couple of years at least, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it's not that long ago. Yeah.
And
Of course, everyone goes on about how he doesn't look very well, but then again, he ain't a young man, is he?
No.
But he's always looked like that, though. I need to be fair. He's always looked a bit.
I think he was a bit, maybe because I hadn't seen him in a while, and then saw him as that fucking hell. He'd really kind of lost a lot of weight, and
Yeah.
when someone loses so much weight, you think, well, that's not really healthy. How much has gone there? But then I don't know what's going on with the man. And
Well, a friend of mine worked on a TV series with him just before lockdown, and was Skyping with him most days and talking about influences. And my mate works in special effects and stuff, and he was saying he was sharp as a fucking, you wouldn't believe it, talking about the films of Jean-Paul Cocteau and all this sort of thing. He was like talking about his influences and stuff, and he's thinking, Christ, I was having trouble keeping up to him.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, yeah.
It'd be a hell of a guest, and I mean, but anybody who's going to go and see him, be prepared to queue because it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
I would think.
yeah.
I mean, and take plenty of money as well because it ain't going to be cheap.
No, it's not. It's going to be.
fucking-
He'll probably charge for a signature. I'm guessing a lot of guys do now. I'll want a photograph with him. He's one of the people I want to photograph with.
Yeah, I'd love to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably get him on the pod.
Somebody will.
Yeah, they will.
Work-wise, he's got what 300, Dark Knight,
Oh, mate,
Sin
you name
City,
it.
all the
I've got
Daredevil
Ronin.
stuff.
Ronin's
Ronin's, yeah.
Ronin's amazing. Yeah, he did a cover to Power Man Iron Fist 68, which I was talking about the other day with Dave Robertson.
That's right. Yeah.
He's incredible.
Come on. There was a tweet a couple of weeks ago or a TikTok or something. Some girl saying, "Can you imagine what a Batman film would look like if Tim Burton did it?" What was Tim Burton's made one, two. in fact.
Give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? the best two Batman films ever made, and I was always gutted he never did the third. Because there's that lovely ending at the end of Batman Returns with Catwoman kind of surviving and looking up into the sky, and I remember thinking, "Oh, this is going to be brilliant." It's going to be and then what happened next? Was it Val Kilmer or
Joel
Oh,
Schumacher.
Christ.
Fucking hell,
Yeah.
it all went
In the
tits.
comics, they were actually doing. I know they got that Batman '89 series. There was the artist. He had drawn Harvey Dent. What's the actor's name?
Billy D. Williams.
Yes, as Two-Face.
Yeah.
So
What?
that might be interesting.
Yeah, and that adaptation, I know you did a show on adaptations, didn't you, not long back? And that '89 adaptation was just, I think, still one of the.
I think that's the gold standard.
But then again, they had to sign off every single likeness, didn't they?
Really?
Yeah, Jack Nicholson particularly. They couldn't. I remember reading about it, and they couldn't use a single panel without Jack Nicholson personally signing it off. So
All right.
that's why it's so good.
I'm
but
like
it is
that.
a fucking masterpiece. That.
Something like that.
For me, like if I ever sold one of my comics as like a film property, once they bought the rights off me, I'd be like, do what you want.
You would not
Do what
be.
you want.
You'd be
No,
ringing
I'd be
me
like-
going, they made that bloke a woman.
No, obviously,
Yeah.
obviously, I would moan about it, but I wouldn't be like trying to control it. I'm like, well, you make the adaptation you want. That's your baby.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be there in your fur coat,
Yeah, big cigar.
Yeah.
bubble glasses.
I'd have a
What's this
personal
shit?
assistant. Get rid of those dead hookers from my room.
I did say like, if I ever won the lottery, I think I'd come into work by the company and just sack loads of people. I said I'd turn up like with a kind of fur coat draped over my shoulders, like with a couple of bouncers either side.
I was saying that I booked my hotel for the lakes, and I was speaking to Nikki and Ian, and I said, "Oh, is there a backstairs? Because I need to get rid of the strippers." And Ian says, "If you find strippers I'm in a group chat with them. If you find strippers in Kendall, let me know." And Nicole says, "Do not find strippers."
So just going back to the Frank Miller thing then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of those, like, really a marquee kind of guest, isn't it?
Yes.
That
Big time.
You know, who else would you want to see if somebody said to you, right, you can get anyone that, I mean, preferably still around and kicking, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise there won't be much fun, would they? But who would you want? Who would you want to see at an event that you could have the chance to meet and talk
I actually
to?
think the corporate memory, is very rubbish. I think people don't remember, the great creators. And I think there's so many people that just aren't getting invited to conventions. And I think Doug Munch, I don't know whether he gets invited. Paul Galassi, who's the other one I was just thinking of? Steve Englehart.
Larry Hammer.
Larry Hammer. Yeah. There's all these people that I think the problem is you've got blokes of our age, and ladies, obviously, and who know who they are, but the kids will go, "Oh no, can we have Mags Zadjo instead?" And we go, "Oh no, let's have someone decent."
Yeah. No, it's true though. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I know. I mean, it's one of those
Becky
things.
Cloonan again, brilliant.
I don't know. I mean, how much? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I know John Wagner doesn't get invited to a lot of events,
right?
As a guest, and I'm like, really? And I wonder if it's the same with Pat Mills. With a similar kind of thing. It's like, but you're talking about really, without probably overstating it, those two guys are responsible for us having a fucking comics industry in Britain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Along with arguably Alan Grant as well. But they should be the first name on every list for me. Even if they say no, I'm not coming. First name on the list. Yeah,
and in a world where we're not sure whether people will be able to fly over, why are we not
tons of
investing
talent.
in the local talent?
I just find it astounding. If I had the money and I could put an event on, that'd be it. I'd be trolling all the kind of British greats first, and then spreading it out. But
I'll tell you who's great, Mary Jo Duffy. I think she is amazing.
Yeah.
And in these days of, I think it's quite right that we have a mix of, everyone. Yeah. She'd be a great guest. But no, because nobody knows who she is.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks that comics started with fucking Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, I know.
It's because the 2000 AD event, obviously that was only creators that work on 2000 AD, but that was fucking nuts. That was absolutely jammed up.
Amazing,
you didn't get tickets for that.
Yeah.
God, that was good.
Did you do the 40th, David?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't know that.
No, well, we didn't know you
then. We weren't friends then, were we?
Yeah.
You're probably too good for us back then.
But oh God, I was absolutely
in your element,
mesmerised that day.
Yeah.
It was like all of my childhood dreams just coming true. And it was funny because I was queuing up to meet. It was queuing up to Simon Bisley. That was it. I was going to decide by Bisley, and just as I got like within the one person in front of me who was going up, the guy came to me and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's got to go now. He's got a panel." I was like, oh, "Fucking hell!" Yeah. And then the table next to him, this guy sat down and he went, "You can come here if you want." And it was Alan Grant. I was like, "Fucking hell!" It's like, talk about trading up.
Yeah, exactly.
Simon Bisley, but I was like, "Oh my God!" And the only reason I didn't queue for Alan Grant was because he wasn't there, But and I was there for ages, like really just chatting with him and talking about, not just his 2000 AD, but his Batman stuff and all that. And what a brilliant guy!
He was lovely, wasn't he? I got some signed comics from him at that event, and he was brilliant. I remember when I was at boarding school, one of my local comic shops was the one in Colchester, and I think he lived in Colchester at the time or somewhere nearby, and he used to do loads of signings there, and he was fucking brilliant. He'd spend all day in there.
Yeah, that's great, man. Creators that do that.
My other abiding memory of that event was Pat Mills shouting at everyone. It was brilliant because you had like Pat, and then you had John. I think was kind of to the right of him.
Yeah,
and it was just brilliant. It was just so good, wasn't it? Just seeing them, and poor Carlos. I think the poor guy drew for like 12 hours straight.
Yeah, there's a long queue as well, wasn't there?
Never seen a queue that big.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a hell of an event. The thing with that, we were just sitting in the bar. Do you remember? D, and like, then someone would turn up, and then John Freeman sat there with us, and it was like this. It's like the best. So good.
Soon to the 50th.
Those will be ahead of us.
Do you know what? What are we? 6 years from the 50th?
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll do a 45th. I'm not sure. It depends, but I think they'll definitely do a 50th. So.
Yeah, I was saying that they should recreate the shed that Pat and John used to work in.
Oh.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe they could throw some original art on the floor and let us walk on it,
use it to jam open the door or something. Yeah.
The one thing about that was that it's just such a shame that they couldn't get Bolan there, because that would have been. I think I'd have lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, that'd have been fantastic.
He's UK based, isn't he, Boland?
Yeah.
I think he lives somewhere near Strange Apparitions. He lives up there somewhere.
Yeah, and he's kind of resurfaced a little bit in the last few years, hasn't he?
He's done a few 2000 AD podcasts, hasn't he, and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
He's back doing quite a few covers as well, isn't he, for DC and stuff. He's just recently done the Batman one that's set in Liverpool, and there's a nice cover of the three Graces and Batman and stuff, and it's good. But it's nice to see him back out and about,
Yeah,
being a cover artist ain't a bad gig, is it? Really?
No.
You're a cover artist. That's what you do now, D.
Well, I don't. Thank you. I won't elaborate that on any further.
Well, let's move on to one of our other subjects that we'd like to talk about before we really dig into the two of you. Is does look like there is light at the end of the tunnel in regards to comics events in comic shops. Now, I was one of the books I'm going to mention later is by one of these creators, and I noticed that Gosh have got an event signing on the 26th of June, Saturday the 26th, between Crent Abel and Shaky Kane for their new book. And I thought, spot on. I know Adam's a big Crent Abel fan, and I'm a big convert to his stuff, and so I think we're going to go along. So, fingers crossed, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's happening.
I guess it's kind of like well in the head. It's odd. I don't know. I'm still in that zone of kind of like when stuff like that, thinking, is it right? Is it okay to do that and stuff? But I guess it is. Yeah.
I suppose they maybe worked it on the fact that the 21st of June, for those in the UK, for those outside the UK, they don't realise, but the 21st of June was a big landmark moment for us in the UK because we were going to open up completely. But it's looking like that may not happen now. I wonder if they're working off the back of that,
Yeah. I mean, H and I were talking about just stuff in general, and we've got our second vaccination beginning of July.
You don't do it as a couple, do you?
Well, we had to book it online, so because we had to travel, we sort of went, we hold hands.
Is he not great with needles, H? Is he all right?
Well, he's a big lad. If he faints.
But it'd be great to just get it out of the way, and then by the middle of July, we'll, after the 2-week kind of period, we'll be all clear, and but we kind of said that we don't really feel comfortable doing anything.
I got mine a week ago, so I'm a week into my second jab now, so I'm quite pleased.
Yeah,
so,
that's all right.
Yeah,
but there's going to be a lot of. It'll be interesting to see how people react as well, because there is a lot of people who are really, really anxious about going back out there to events.
Integrating back into society in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as much as all this bravado about, I'm not fucking bothered and all that, I think it'll take a while for people to get back into the swing of it. I mean, it's weird, right? Because the other week, I went into a Starbucks. I had to nip out early in the morning on an errand, and we had like this early opening Starbucks, and I just pulled in and nipped in and grabbed a cup, and just being in there buying a coffee was really strange. I was saying to H, I felt really, really strange. Like, I haven't been anywhere like that for
so long, isn't it? Yeah.
And it just felt odd, and then I started like kind of going fast forward and thinking, what's it going to be like when you're in a room full of like comics things and in your convention, or do you know what I mean? And it is an odd feeling for people that haven't been out and about much. I've just been working solidly from home. Basically.
Same.
Yeah, I legged it into Gosh the other day. So I got the train in to St Pancras, and I jumped to Flounder to get there because I was running a bit late, and it closes at 6 at the moment. And I said to the cabbie, can you take me to 1 Berwick Street? And he went, have you been down there recently, mate? And I went, no, not for ages. And he went, you won't make it down the road. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, it's all closed off, isn't it? And I was thinking, maybe they've closed it off. It's a bit weird. And then we got there. We got about 10 yards down Berwick Street, and the rest is just pissed people at tables where they've pedestrianised it. And it was absolutely mobbed.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Maybe they won't then. Maybe people will just go out and fucking do it.
drunk as a handcart. Yeah.
I'm pretty apprehensive about sort of going back into it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I've not really done much about this work from home, nip down the local shop a couple of times and see the odd member of the family, but that's about it. So
Yeah.
It's funny because I read a really good article today, and it was only a short article, but it was about kind of the anxiousness of reintegrating into society. And she was saying, things like there's a cold ripping round her daughter's school, and she was saying it's just a cold. She says, but you have this thing where if you hear somebody cough, you go into a bit of a panic and thinking, oh God, somebody's coughing behind me. And I think we're going to be a bit like that going forward. Even when we're out and about, and if more and more people with any sense get vaccinated, it's starting to feel a bit safer. But you will have people who choosing not to vaccinate, who'll choose not to wear a mask, who'll be coughing and spitting and stuff, and you're thinking, it's back to the days of when spitting was banned because of TB. Then you're thinking, that's going to spread.
Yeah.
And if you stood in a queue and someone coughs, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm in a queue in a shop, and even though we've got masks on, someone coughs, I can feel myself like, sucking my bloody neck into my shoulders and go, oh, get away.
I got a cold recently, and I got it from the only person I've been exposed to, and it was the one who cut my golden locks. So I thought, when they opened up, you could get your hair cut, and I thought, all right, leg it in. So I got my hair cut, and I got a cold off the woman who gave me a haircut. And I'm like, fuck's sake. Yeah. Normally, I like sitting on a park bench and sort of spitting at teenagers in the lunch hour.
I was questioning whether we can actually start wearing face masks every kind of cold flu
I see
season.
them keeping that in for a bit. I mean, they're calling the 21st of June a fair day, aren't they? Because everyone who's had to put their affairs on hold, will be bang up for it after that.
Oh God!
I mean, I know my diary's full for the week after that. I've got to tell you now.
That fucking one meme that went round, and it's 2 weeks after lockdown, and it's the couple, and the woman was saying, "Can you blink quiet, you fucking."
I'll make a note of the time just for Vince till he does the edit.
Great.
I mean, are you guys? Do you have a local comic shop? Where's the nearest one to you, Dames?
There's one there used to be one in Wigan, but I don't think it's there anymore. It was in the back of a wallpaper shop.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And then that shut down. So I think it's gone. But there is one kind of in Atherton, which is up near Bolton. So that's the trouble is with Bolton, you've got to have vaccinations anyway, regardless. Now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I used to go to Manchester quite a lot, because we've got Forbidden Planet there, and Travelling Man and things like that. And there's a couple of independent, kind of more markety stores.
You got that one near the train station that you go downstairs to, and it's you get fleas by walking in there. That one, yeah.
Yeah, it's full of antique jazz mags in it and stuff.
I love all that. I bought a Man from Uncle Annual in there last time I was there.
Yeah, I mean, it always makes me laugh because you go past and then you don't realise they do comics at first because they've got. It's like Bush a Go-Go in the window, isn't it? All these 70s porn mags and stuff. And then, people look like they've got Lenny Bennett stuck down the knickers. And then you kind of...
Just for the old people in the
room. And then you go down into a cellar, and all the best comic shops are underground, in my opinion. I'll never argue against that. Every greatest comic shop or part of a comic shop I've ever been to has always been not on the ground floor but the floor beneath it.
Yeah.
And that's probably back to the old cons as well that I used to go to, and they were the old comic marts, and they were always underneath something.
Oh, I'm so pissed I missed the last comic mart. I really want to go to that.
Yeah.
Because that's opened again now, so that's available again now.
Yeah.
And that falls into what you're saying, Dames, is that's a place where you would easily catch a disease anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. We tabled at one once.
Oh, right.
In a comic mart, yeah. And the guy, to be fair, it was £2 to get in, And the guy said to us, what do you sell? And I said, well, we sell art and, stuff like that. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. And I don't think he'd take any money for the table because he said, if you make any money, let me know. And I'll, and at the end of it, we made £5. So one thing. But there was a guy next to us, sort of like this Quentin Crisp character. He was a proper lovey from the theatre, and he selling pictures, wasn't he, like postcards for £1, and he was fucking.
He was.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It was just like boxes of shit, basically. Of old like postcards of movies and
Broken
film
badges,
stars you've never
rusty
heard of.
badges, yeah.
And people were going apeshit over it. And to be fair, he had it away, and we were sat there just going, "Oh, he's busy again." Oh,
Yeah.
he's busy again.
Nice. I got a postcard this week from Graham Peanut again. So you make your bed, don't you? I sent all those postcards out. I deserve it. So I got another nice one from Graham Peanut. Yeah, okay.
They do sell a lot of tat at those comic things, don't they?
Yeah.
Christ, yeah.
A lot of tat.
I bought a great book on 1970s UK porn films. And it's all like stuff like Eskimo Nell and Behind the Green Door and all this sort of things. Genius.
I've never heard of any of them.
Oh, look them up.
Okay.
Oh,
After the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't look them up.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Okay.
It's like I was chatting to someone the other day, and it's like Katie Manning, I think, is in Eskimo Nell, who played Joe Grant in John Pertwee's Doctor Who. And there's a famous porn magazine where she's naked with a, and it's like that. It's like you say, Dames. It's like that Luke Cage villain, the Bushmaster. It's a bit like that. And she's got her legs around a Dalek, and me and a mate of mine met her at a screening once, and she said to us, she looked at us, and we just watched a screening of a Dalek Doctor Who episode, and she went, "I love the Daleks," and me and my mate just looked at her, and she knew what she was saying.
How old were you at the time?
Well, I was 42 or something when she said it,
okay.
but yeah,
That long ago, was it?
yesterday, and I still think of it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
So does the
So does it murder.
I really love the Daleks.
So have you guys got any plans for kind of con-wise this year, or kind of getting your art and stuff out there?
Probably not. Probably True Believers will be the first thing
Really?
we might apply for. But no, there's not. I mean, obviously, we were unfortunate enough not to get into a couple of things we applied for. So after that, there's not really much else going on, I don't think.
Well, it's still, as we said, there's still so much uncertainty this year over what's going on. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, if for example, tomorrow Nottingham said they were doing something in November,
bite their hands off, man. I love Nottingham. Yeah,
because we'd be fully vaccinated by then, and there comes a point where you've got to give it a go, haven't you? You've got to see how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to an event like that I know will be well run and would look after people and do it properly than, if some fucking fly-by-night outfit suddenly turned up with a new con, So,
yeah.
But no, at the moment it's looking like it's probably going to be 2022 before we do anything. But
Nottingham's one of my great con experiences. I love that every year, and it's a combination of being really fun, really sociable. I'm just good friend. I mean, last time I was in Nottingham, I went for a pint with Kev. Do you know what I mean? They're lovely people, and we also make a few quid at it. It's one of those good ones.
We had a good day at Nottingham as
it was
well,
good.
and Leamington was another one we did well at.
Yeah,
that
the
was
same.
Nice,
Yeah.
kind of event, really.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to them to come back. I've got to tell you. So the only other thing we've got to talk about before we move into you is speaking of comics communities, we have a new Slack channel.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. Slack channel.
Now, we put it out last week, didn't we? To say I think generally there's a lot of conversations about Twitter and sometimes Facebook being a bit of a pain in the arse to be on. A little bit.
Yeah.
I hate the phrase, but a little bit toxic. It's just like an argument in an empty room a lot of the time. So we thought, so we put it out to the listeners and said, would you be interested in a Slack channel? And quite a lot of people said they would be. So we started a Slack channel, was it like Wednesday or something? Damn, something like that.
Yeah.
And we've already got like 50, 60 people in there. It's like taken off. And I'm having trouble keeping up with it all, but it is all talking about comics. There's a crowdfunding channel for advice and putting your crowdfund out there. There's even like a movie channel, an art channel, and everyone's like being really nice on there. I'd been conversation with the old bastard channel, this would have been, but me, Simon Russell and Pete Dorey had a big conversation about who's this artist, an unaccredited page of art, and it's cracking. I've got to tell you, if you're interested.
A lot more structured than the Facebook group, because on the Facebook there's essentially one conversation, then it moves on, then there's another one.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, we've got like essentially like these channels where there's a feedback channel, you can post artwork up and say, does this work? Or you can ask for like the advice channel, or I think there's
collab
like
channel, isn't there?
Yeah. There's like a general one where anyone talks about anything in there. So there's a lot of back. I think there's an art one which I try and post stuff up in during the week. I've sort of said, look at this piece of artwork. Should post that bloody martial law one that got posted up.
Oh yeah, the Brian Level one we just looked at. Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
And it's really friendly. You can don't worry, but you can have the notifications on. You can turn them off. I think it naturally, if you get to 10 o'clock your time, it sets you up as a snooze button, so you don't get notifications through the night and stuff. But it's like a very sophisticated WhatsApp group. Yeah. With various channels, and you
sounds really positive because, like you're saying, social media can be so negative sometimes. And there's always someone willing to pick a fight. Yeah, with themselves in an empty room. You just want, especially in current times, you just want a bit of positivity, don't you? Really? You want someone to say something bloody nice or be, help you out sometime. Or it's just, you just. In these times, you do need a bit of a boost, and the last thing you want is some bloody thread where someone goes off on some right-wing tangent. It's like, oh, for God's sake, I only asked about some artwork.
Or the biggest crime to me is it's me, and I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I only take so much of that, H. Do you know what I mean? It's. I think the thing is as well, I've had some bad experiences with Instagram because I've been sending this lady pictures of myself on Instagram and not been hearing anything back.
Yeah, but you've got to realise, though, you can only pinch and zoom so far.
That angle is very difficult to get. Yeah.
How many pseudonyms do you have, Tony?
Not enough. Right, it's a little bit of an in-joke. We're not telling you about it. It's a bit of an in-joke. Okay.
Going back to the Slack channel, I signed up and had a quick scoot round. And it does look very good. I mean, I must admit. And I like some of the different, as you said, the topic areas you've got. You know, the one on process particularly.
Cool.
And I think it's got legs. As long as, it keeps. The problem is, my problem is I forget to check them. That's the thing.
Yeah, until we make it the normal. I mean, I've been on the 11 o'clock ones for about a year and a half, and I love being on there, and that's really positive. And I think I was saying there's a lot of people on that who just aren't on other social media really, because they're just happy with that space, and I think that's what we need to move into. Yeah, you're right though. It's something you need to make a habit to look at.
And I think if more people like myself can make a habit of it, then I think it'll look great. I mean, it's nice when you look in there and it's the usual crew, isn't it? Plus some new faces, and you think, well, that's good, because you could probably lay bets on who the people would be that would sign in, but to see new people in there as well was really good.
There's a few people in there who go, look, I am on the Facebook group, I don't really use Facebook, but I do use Slack, and a lot of people use Slack for work and stuff, don't they? So there's no trouble for them just to sign in and stick it on the desktop during the day at work, and it's all right.
Have you got a Pimp My Kickstarter channel?
We have.
There's like a kind of promotions thread, so people just stick the latest thing that they're working on in there. So
I'll still try and do it on the Facebook just to
go through. It's one of those things that's a necessary evil. You want people to know about it, but you don't want to keep on fucking derailing everything to mention it.
I think the thing is with
contacting you to ask you to do it. Would you mind advertising this for me? I'm like, I fucking got my own going.
Yeah.
I don't mind that so much. It's when someone messages and say, "Oh, can you back this for me?" And I know.
I've had a lot of that lately.
Yeah, well, cold calling. So no.
I think the problem with the Facebook, so we had like a promotions thread on the Facebook thing, which was quite popular actually, or it still is going. And the problem is, you would put something on there, and then everyone would go. Because there's so many people in the notifications for that thread, everyone would go, oh, I forgot about that, I'll put mine on there. So every time you put something on there, you get swamped by about 5 more underneath it.
And then, what you said is gone.
Yeah, and I noticed the traction on it was dropping. So, I mean, there's 50-odd people on there at the moment, so have a look. Join it and be nice, and that's all you need to do. We're quite happy with it,
No, it looks really good. Guys. And hopefully it'll continue to grow as well. And if the people, because they're all good people that are on there, and they're all willing to share and help each other, it is that community thing. So if you are listening to this and thinking of joining, just get on there, because you won't regret it.
Yeah, and we're doing what you're reading tonight at the weekend stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that space will be...
doesn't he? He does that, what you're reading this weekend. And I always enjoy seeing what people are...
Yeah, me too. Yeah, learn stuff. Yeah.
That space will be what we make it. So, do you know what I mean? We put in positivity and good vibes, as it were. That's hopefully what it will be and remain.
Yeah,
you get
cool.
What you put in. Yeah.
Now, moving on to what I've dubbed in the script as the interview section. I wanted to ask you two guys, what perhaps maybe from a point of view of learning is how long is ArtNineTwo been going now? Is it 3 years? I'm going to say
3 years. Yeah.
What have you learned along the way, guys? Anything in particular you could? Don't go quiet. Anything in particular you can put your finger on that is something you found that you didn't expect going in, maybe, or something that you didn't think would be quite so important, or anything like that? Is anything that's happened that you can think of?
In all honesty, we kind of went into this very eyes open, so
okay,
we didn't go into it thinking going to make millions here. You know, everyone's going to be falling on themselves to buy our stuff and blah blah blah. It was quite literally just an outlet for us to create stuff, and then if people wanted to buy it, they could.
Okay.
So, in a kind of business sense, we've not been disappointed in that, because we've kind of done what we thought we'd do. I mean, you know, we got an accountant and we did it all properly just to make sure that, you know, we weren't going to be sort of falling foul of any laws or anything. And, you know, we kind of said to the guy, look, we're probably not going to make any money. And he's like, well, you won't in the first year, and second year, you know, hopefully you'll break even.
Okay.
And, you know, we're on track. You know, we've made a profit each year so far, a very small, modest profit.
Yeah.
But, you know, at least it's kind of on the plus side. So from that sense, it's not been a real shock. I think what has been a surprise to me particularly is how much it basically takes over your life, your free time. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean everything we do art-wise, not very often do we have time to paint or draw for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, because we're always working on something.
It's a good thing. We're not
it is a good
complaining.
thing. Yeah. And that surprised me, because I thought we'd have long periods of just, you know, being able to just kind of practice stuff and try it out. And actually what we've got into now is that, as we'll talk about, you know, it's either commissions or working on collaborations with people's books or doing our own comics and stuff. So it's been really, really interesting. And I think the one thing we have learned is that certain events just don't suit us.
Okay.
You know, so I don't think we've ever made a profit at a mixed media event.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
You know, we've not. I mean, we've done, I think, 3 or 4 of them, and we've never really taken anything at any of them. Usually because we stuck between 2 tables of fucking Funkos. It seems to be everywhere we go, walled in by plastic shit. And then, but when we go to a comic event, we do really well. Yeah, I mean, really well in the scheme of things, you know. But we cover the table and we cover our costs.
That is good. That's what you need, isn't it?
You know, that's good. I don't know if you thought of anything, H, that we've learned.
No, I think you're right when you say we went in with our eyes wide open, because I think, you know, what sort of sparked the whole thing was being when people asked, can you do a commission? I'll pay you for a commission. It's like, well, technically, if you pay me for something, that would be basically against the law, because we wouldn't be paying tax on it. So I didn't want to start going down that path.
Okay.
And then we thought, well, let's start the business up so we can legitimately take, you know, payments off people to do commissions and stuff. And then it kind of grew. But we knew that it was never going to be one of these things where people have said to us, oh, you know, you're starting a business. That means you can just pack in work. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You know, and some people that we know have tried that. They've done that. They've set, you know, set something up, posted a few pictures on social media. And then the morning when nobody's taking them up, it's like, yeah, but you've been doing it for a month. Nothing's going to happen in a month. You know, it's taken us 3 years and we're still growing. I'd like to think we're still growing, because, you know, we do have a bit of a kind of a mixed kind of relationship with social media, because you need social media.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm on it still, to be fair. Yeah.
You know, it gets on my tits, but we have to put something on. I try and put stuff on every day on the ArtNineTwo social media, just to, you know, try and pique people's interest, just to, you know, so people can say, oh, have you got a website? Have you got a social media? It's like, yeah, you know, and again, it's like the website thing. It's trying to maintain it, trying to keep it up to date, because people want to have a website to go to, rather than just, you know, seeing a portfolio. Have you got a website? So we've got, you know, something to go to there.
And I think we were quite lucky in so much as we've always been, again, like we mentioned before, we've been in jobs where we've been talking to people, and we've had to be sociable with people. So we were never kind of awkward behind the table or anything.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'd probably say was a surprise was just how much you've got to keep working at things like social media and stuff like that. You know, because I didn't think people really paid any attention. But, you know, when I did Galaxy Grappling Alliance. We launched that at True Believers. Like, the number of people who were coming up going, I've been following this on Twitter. I'm like, oh, have you? Like,
well, that is good.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And we've had that at other events, haven't we, as well? I've been seeing this and I've been looking forward, and you're like, oh, right.
But just because you're not getting the likes, just because people don't press the like or press the repost or whatever, doesn't mean so they're not looking at it, they're not seeing it. So as much as you get dejected when you see something else, you think, how come that's got 250 likes and I've got 3?
Yeah.
You know, you can't get dejected like that, because it's not about how many likes. It is passing, because you see the activity, don't you? You can't help yourself but look at the activity. The activity is far greater than the amount of people who've liked it.
There's a real way of doing Twitter these days. Everyone's sort of learned through failure, isn't they? And I think being professional and enthusiastic, I think, are the two areas that are key. I think we're falling. I think people who put their life on Twitter are falling foul of it now. I think all this like, I went to the shops today and bought a loaf. I don't need to know that.
No.
It's being lost in a bit of a fog of nonsense. But I think all the good people, we were talking about Mark Miller a few weeks ago, and the likes of Bendis and all these people, they're enthusiastic and they're positive, and they don't go down those alleyways of negativity, do they? I think, and once you hit that, I think you're all right.
I was going to make a comic about going and buying a loaf. You've ruined it.
We've talked about it, Dames. You know what I'm talking about.
It's going to be very.
Was it going to be your bread and butter? Was it?
It's a real strange one.
One other thing that has surprised me as well, and this is probably no surprise, but I've said this before, is how welcoming the community was as well when we first started on the scene, as it were.
Has that changed? Do you think with the lockdown and with everyone moving to online?
That's now, because again, it'll be, time will tell, I suppose, when we see people. But no, people have still been in touch, and I talk to people quite a lot on Messenger, and just out of the blue, people get in touch and go, "Oh, how you doing?" I was talking to Luke Copsey earlier, about his stuff he's doing, and yeah. But when we first started, I mean, you do go into it as the new kids on the block, and you kind of think, "Oh God, is everybody going to be really snipey?" And and they weren't, were they? I've got to say, majority of people have been brilliant.
That's good, man. It does you no good. It does you no good by just having a go at people, does it?
Yeah,
I think
being a contrarian really kind of like.
Yeah. Do you
Sorry.
Sorry, mate, I was going to talk about marketing a bit, actually, and just carrying on from what you've done there. Now, obviously, I'm a listener, and you've very kindly had me on. But do you find that OMN to that, which is your podcast, very worthwhile listening to, have you found that has helped raise your profile? I know that's not the reason you did it. Don't get me wrong, but I wondered, has it helped you at all? I
don't know.
Right.
I honestly don't know. And again, that will be seen when we next start tabling and seeing people, because I imagine there may be people come up to me and say, I've been listening and think that somebody's listening, and
I'm listening, man. I love it. I think it's great.
I'm grateful for anyone that listens, because I'm surprised when people do, but there are people listening. But I'll tell you what it has done, and this is quite funny, is when I've had people on, it's especially with the small press creators and stuff that I haven't talked to about their process and their publishing thing. The number of them that have come back and said, "Bloody hell, people have been buying stuff." Now it could be coincidence, but some people are going, "No, I heard you on the podcast and I've been and bought it."
Yeah.
Paul P.J. Johnson was one, the guy from Wigan who does those kind of she would say, not suitable for work comics, which aren't everybody's flavour.
Yeah.
But he was on to me going, "Fucking hell, mate! I've had like loads of people just ordering stuff."
That's
on the
fantastic.
podcast.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really that's why I like getting the like yourselves, getting the small press and lesser known creators on.
Yeah.
To try and give them a push. And to be honest, we've never seen a bump in sales as a result of OMN to that. But I know other people have.
That's interesting.
That makes it all worthwhile
for
me.
Yeah.
We've had a good chat and a show, and people are then looking and have got eyes on their work, and that's great.
Push yourself enough on the show, because one of the things we're guilty of on this is not talking about our own stuff.
Yeah, we don't get many sales out of this, do we? But we hear back from people who say, "I just got 6 sales," and we're like, "What?" Nice. Stuff like that.
Right,
Yeah. And it's one of those things. I mean, it depends what your motivation is. So if your motivation was to have Awesome Comics podcast, which was about an hour of you lot just shilling your own stuff, there's nothing wrong with
dreadful. Yeah,
then,
well, there's a little bit wrong with it, but yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That,
yeah,
that would be the way you would do it, and you probably would get more sales. But that's not what you do, because it isn't about you, and it's a bit like old men to that. It's not about me, and I try my best not to talk too much, and not always succeed. But it's about the people, and if I get guests on, I want them to go and buy the stuff. Man, you were like this at conventions as well.
Yeah,
I can remember being at True Believers, funny enough, and people coming up and like at our stall, and me, I was sending them to Steve Sims, who's kind of opposite. And I'm going, go buy his stuff. You see that? You buy the badges. It's fucking amazing.
Love Steve.
And,
yeah,
so it's that kind of. That's why I do it, and we don't do it for us, do we? We do it just because we want to entertain people if we can.
Yeah, I think there's always that little. I don't know if you get this, Dames. There's always that little bit, and I think H with your videos as well. There's always like a little bit in the back of my head thinking, I hope people don't think this is a vanity project, because I'm not.
Very much so.
Yeah, because I'm not doing it for that reason. I mean, I often think about this when I do the other podcasts. Is I barely even say my name on that podcast, and I never pimp my own website, and I just kind of don't do it because I don't want to be that person.
No.
Yeah. Do you get there's a little bit of that goes on somewhere. You get that, H, do you?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, when I first started doing the videos, I was kind of in two minds whether or not to narrate them, because I don't like the sound of my own voice, but then who does?
Yeah.
And I didn't want people thinking, oh God, who's this bloody woman? What kind of bloody voice is that? But then I thought, if I don't narrate it, that means I've then got to do some kind of sort of subtitles or something on it to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I thought that's more trouble than necessary.
We're big fans of your videos, mate. They come across very nice. Yeah, they're very, very friendly, I think, is the idea.
Well, that's what I wanted to be very, if I make a mistake, leave the mistake in and go, shouldn't have done that. I'll rub that out. Just be very sort of relaxed about it, very sort of Bob Ross about it, happy accidents kind of thing,
Did you want to talk a little bit about your videos? I know they're not specifically comics, but they are art videos. You do learn something. So how did that come about? Because I know you used to do like a community art class. Is that right, H?
I did. Yeah. I started, 2014, I think it was. I started a community art class, and it was just over in my local library in the village. And they've got they had a room that was just full of like crap. They used it as a storeroom, and then they wanted to turn it into a gallery, and they managed to get some funding to turn it into a gallery. And then they said, I think one of them was talking to Damien once and said, it'd be great if we could put some art classes on. This is when Damien was a local councillor. Put some art classes on, and Damien says, I know just the person that might be able to help you there. So I went over and had a chat with them, and they said, we'd love something like that. I said, well, it'll be purely voluntary. I'll just volunteer my time.
Nice.
Just something I wanted to do, because we needed to get footfall through the library to make sure it didn't close, for one, and just bring more people in. And I know this is going to sound really kind of cliche now, and I don't want it to sound like that, but I just wanted to give something back to the community and get people, doing something. So set up this art class, and it was a bit of a damp squib at first, and we had a big opening of the gallery, and then a load of people turned up, and then bit by bit they dwindled away. And I thought, no, I'm going to carry on with this. I'm not going to give up on this. So I just started asking around and got people to sort of ask other people and anybody who fancied coming to an art class. And then a couple of people came, then like 3 or 4 people came, and then it grew to I was teaching about 30 people. And it was ridiculous because I was trying to squeeze them into this tiny space, and some of them had to sit on kids' seats that I had to get from the kids section of the library, But it was really, really good because I'd get guest artists, and I couldn't pay them. They'd just volunteer their time.
Yeah.
Guest artists to come and do like little demos, like a pastel demo. And, I had a guy I used to go to college with, he'd come and do a demo. And every other week I'd set a session plan and, set them all up and get them going. And it was just immense fun. But the main thing out of it was to sort of build confidence with people.
Yeah.
Because that's what art is about. It's not just about learning to draw. It's also getting the confidence, because that will then lead on to, drawing really well. But it was about the community thing, because a lot of people there would take 2 buses to get there. They were carers of people at home, or they were widowers, and they were getting out of the house and,
That's great.
Yeah, sort of getting together with people and stuff. I stepped away from it.
I did an art class when I retired. I don't know if I've ever bored you with this story, H, but I did this art class and I really enjoyed it. And I'm not a great, I just try my best, have a go at it. And I went along and I was my usual cheerful self, and it was me and a lot of, I think Dan refers to them in his search history as gilfs. And there was a palpable sexual tension in the room when I was there.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Really? Was it your golden locks?
Yeah, it may have been my glowing waterfall that's in my hair. Yeah. I got to regale you this. It's slight aside, but I bought these trousers, right? Dan rang me earlier and we were chatting. And I bought these new trousers and I thought they look cool. You know, you buy that see things online and you think they look cool. And I bought these trousers and they're like, I don't know, they're something like Filipino sailors' trousers. And they're meant to be these sort of long, baggy, hippie shorts. I look fucking ridiculous in them.
Yeah.
They even sound ridiculous as you're describing them.
I'm wandering about in the garden, and I had this like revelation when Dan rang me and answered the phone. I just had to say to him immediately, I said, I'm wearing these new trousers. I think like I look like a complete twat in them.
You see them being modelled by like some 25-year-old stud who's built like a brick shithouse. Yeah, they look alright.
They look alright.
And then you get them when you're like, oh fuck.
I look like fucking Nobby Styles on a bad day.
That's a bit.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you. Yeah, I look like some 1950s footballer in them.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you know, like you've got a nappy full of shit?
Yeah.
And you walk,
I mean, what they call it, chimping, don't they? Where you shit in your hand and throw it. I might do that.
They come down under your knees, T.
Yeah, below my knees now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my bum crack keeps coming out of them.
Oh, what a lovely vision that is.
You got your thong on, the full effect.
You know, I never go. You know, I never wear anything, James.
Yeah.
Pictures of Kevin Smith wearing jorts. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they're like maybe like 6 inches from his ankle up, and that's where the end jorts. And then he'd have socks in, so you'd see like a couple of inches of skin. It's like, what is the point of them?
I'd like to just stop the show and say that Cliff has just sent me a video. That's never a good time.
Yeah. Does he know you're recording, or?
I don't.
He
Maybe.
got his shorts on.
I bet he doesn't wear anything. He wears very short shorts, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Kevin Keegan.
Hot
Podger
pants.
style.
Yeah.
Kevin Keegan.
He turned out a bit strange, Kevin, didn't he? What happened in that lay-by? Something happened, didn't it? I don't know.
I know that one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a word.
He would love it. Love it.
The legal team said no.
No, sorry, to get back, H, as an aside about my trousers, I apologise. Yeah, so these, because I suppose because of lockdown, they sort of transferred onto YouTube, didn't they? Is that right?
Yeah, because basically I'd set up, as is usually the case with things that I end up doing and it all goes horribly wrong, I'd set up some workshops in Manchester and set them all up in a Cassart, so they have like an under, like downstairs kind of gallery.
Oh, okay.
Set them all up on Eventbrite. And then bugger me, the pandemic hit, so we had to cancel them. Yeah. So I thought, oh God. So I wanted to kind of still do something that would, kind of, I'd enjoy doing, because I enjoy doing stuff like that. And I ended up doing these mini tutorials on YouTube, completely free. You don't even have to subscribe if you don't want to. And it's just, because it was basically covered what I was going to do in the workshops, was drawing cats and dogs and stuff and other animals, just making it look easy. And then we were going to do it again, as you'll know, Tony. We were trying to do it like live stream it only a few months ago, and I think because restrictions were starting to ease a little bit, people were then starting to think, well, actually, I can get out now. So the sort of interest dropped on the
It was a weird
so
time,
we've shelved that for now.
Yeah, I signed up. Yeah.
So it's such a shame, because I again, in my usual kind of anally retentive fashion, I'd done all the session plans, got it all set up, and it's like
back to Instagram.
You did put a lot of work in.
I did.
I mean, I think I've said this before, that we're not particularly lucky people. I mean, I always say if I fell in a bucket of tits, I'd come out sucking my thumb. Do you know what I mean?
That's that fucking phrase.
It's just one of those things that you just have to kind of tried that, didn't work.
Yeah.
Move on to the next thing that won't work. It's but you've got to try. We've got a whole catalogue of these things that we've tried over the last 3 years that didn't quite work.
Yeah.
But comics seems to be taking off for you guys. I know, because we've got Grappling Alliance, which is gone really well. And what I'm guessing, is it the third issue you're working on now, James? Is it?
I will be. Yeah, I've knocked it back a little bit, because this year I decided that because we had no conventions, we knew we weren't going to have any conventions to go to, really. I thought, well, I don't really want to kind of do a load of books and just have boxes of books sat around. So I've decided, start of the year, I was going to collaborate with other people. So I sent off a few samples and managed to get quite a few responses. So I've been working primarily most of this year and back in the last year on scripts for other people, which has been nice. It's been a challenge to me as well, because it's kind of like drawing cars and stuff, which I would always avoid like the plague. Do you know what I mean? There's a reason GGA is set in space. But it's been a real challenge, but I think I've actually become a better artist as a result of doing it and pushing myself.
Yeah.
So the next project will be Pre-Mortis 2 and GGA 3.
Oh wow, okay, Pre-Mortis 2. I'm looking
nice
forward to that. So are you swapping art duties on that? Are you both doing a bit of it, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, H is working on. We'll come on to that, but H is working on projects as well.
Cool.
And obviously, there was the recent. We both did a piece for Sarah's DUI.
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah.
Yes. I was going to ask about that because H, you've worked with Al Henderson on that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Al was
And
very complimentary about it. I was chatting to him the other
that's
day.
nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice to work with, actually, and it's the first time I've been asked to sort of collaborate on anything before, so it kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit, I must admit, but I'm really glad that it did, because it gave me the confidence to sort of move forward with an idea I've been bouncing around for quite some time, and when I still had the momentum going after I'd submitted it and Alan was happy with it and stuff, I still had that momentum and I wanted to channel it. So I'm probably over halfway through a project of my own that I'm working on, because it gave me the confidence to do it. I've been putting it off, going, I don't think it's going to be very good, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, but you don't know unless you try, do you?
So what are you able to talk about either project? I think the anthology probably will keep secret, but we do know that you work with Al on that, because I know that I was chatting to Sarah yesterday. She's putting it together at the moment. I think it's the turnaround on that anthology has been incredible, because it's only seems like a couple of months ago we got drunk and started talking about it on the Drink and Draw.
Fantastic.
And then what's the other project you got, Age?
Well, I don't want to really say too much about it. I've been releasing a few little sneaky peeks on social media, but it doesn't give anything away. So, I mean, there's a couple of images where people are in masks, but it's not pandemic related at all. It's just set in the current climes,
right?
And I have to sort of make reference to it, but I don't know. It's something very, very different. I don't think people are going to be expecting this kind of thing from me. And I'm taking my time with it, because I want it, because you know what it's like, and I said this about Pre-Mortis when I did the first page and started working through it, and then when I got through it I thought, shit, the first page is crap, and going back and changing it again, and that's how I feel about this now. So I'm keeping going back.
That's a process everyone faces,
tweaking it, and I printed it all out, and you do that thing, you print it all out and start messing around with the order of it and the flow of it and stuff, and I want to be really, really there's no deadline. I've not set myself a deadline with it. I just want to be really pleased with it and put it together, and then we're thinking of maybe kickstarting it.
Okay.
As well, setting a small goal and just setting some small kind of tiers in there. Nothing too fancy, but I've been really, really enjoying it. I've been doing it between other stuff, so not sort of sometimes when you immerse yourself in something and then you get sick of looking at it. I've been doing it between other stuff, so at no point have I got sick of it.
That's
which
good.
is quite nice.
I'd say from regards of Kickstarter. Sorry, man.
It is looking fantastic as well. I mean, I know I'm probably biased, but the artwork is superb.
What sort of format, guys? Are you thinking? Without spoiling the story, but what
standard
sort of
comic size it'll be? Yeah,
a one-off or a one-shot or a series or?
It's probably going to be a one-shot.
I think probably one-shot. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's quite. It's kind of like an introspective piece as well. I mean, not giving anything away,
nice.
But when H pitched it to me, it was more about this. It plays with the idea of sometimes, you don't actually know what you need until you find it, and it's about.
That's what you two said.
Those gaps. And you don't know that those gaps exist sometimes, but you know that there's something not quite there, and it's kind of around that, and it's really. I mean, I think it's brilliant. I mean, obviously I will be biased, but I do really think it's brilliant.
I'm looking forward to that. I like your writing.
Forward to that, yeah.
Do you think
it's about buying bread, actually, Tony?
It's bread. Get that bread. Yeah, you want a brown loaf or a white loaf? Here we go. The four panels. Do you think then, H, that the lockdown has allowed you to, and I think all artists have to struggle with this, is, dive a bit into yourself to bring out something, to create something a bit more interesting? Do you think you've been allowed that space?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, not a lot of people actually know this. I know you know this, Tony, but I was actually made redundant as well. So
right.
I've had this time on my hands where I wanted to continue to be productive, because I felt a little bit, as a lot of people will kind of relate to this, you feel a little bit redundant. I mean, literally redundant. I get you. Feel like nobody wants you, kind of thing. So I kind of thought, okay, let's take a bit of time and sort of look upon myself as self-employed, essentially. So taking on work and stuff, which I'll talk about anyway. But I had this time to think, do you know what? I've got a bit of time now to sort of, whilst I'm looking for sort of proper work, paid work. To sort of go back and think, push myself and do things that maybe I was too nervous to do, or too worried that it was too you you do sort of get pigeonholed a little bit sometimes, and
we're rushing about as well, mate. Sometimes, you know, pre-pandemic, I think there was that need to do stuff. I work so much these days. I wonder how I'll actually fit my life in when the world opens up again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you are very, very busy, aren't you? Yeah.
It's a weird one. I was watching, completely unconnected, I was watching a documentary on the band. I'm a big fan of them. And their most productive period came when they all went and lived in a house in the middle of the countryside. And I thought, well, that's kind of, there's a parallel to what we're doing now. You know, we're all locked up, but some people are finding it hard. I think there's the two sides of the coin. Some people are finding it very hard to create, and some people are finding it very easy to create.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird one.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I had moments of complete, like, you know, Jesus Christ, I can't draw. You know, so then what I do, I took some time out and, you know, redid the garden and did all stuff around the house and things like that. So it's kind of, you're right. It's made me kind of think about what I was doing, and I kept the same routine.
Yeah.
So I got up at the same, even though I wasn't working, I got up at the same time and did all the same things and set myself a goal of, right, I'm going to draw up to this point and then stop and have lunch, and just keeping a bit of rigidity about my day, which has really helped me, I think.
Yeah. Definitely. I know people, you know, mental illness is a huge thing during the lockdown. I think people deal with it in different ways. I think that's the thing. When there's been problems in my life, I've always found it easier to throw myself into work. And I don't mean comics at work, but throw myself into something. And I think that's why I've managed it. But some people are a bit frozen by it. But I think what it does, it's allowed us what Pat Mills calls looking out the window time. You know, I think you need that, don't you? To find something, you know. Nobody just sits down and writes a story. And if they do, it's normally rubbish. You know, you need to have that thinking time to come at it.
I can say, like, for me, like, the drawing stuff is just as easy as it ever was, but it's the writing the story stuff I find
interesting
a lot more, because I'd get out a lot more, be walking, and that's when my ideas would come in, and I'd send myself to myself, and then I'd assemble it all together on a Word doc or a Google doc. But now, because I'm not getting out as much and allow my mind to wander as much, I'm not getting those ideas. I can't just do that. What Pat Mills says, people can't do it. Sit down and just write a story. I
can't. That's I mean, just going back to work. I mean, H is one of those people that can write and can draw and can do most things. And I
pretend. I think I can.
Nah.
No, you can. I mean, because you've written stuff. You've been a writer before. You've written stories and.
Yeah, what's that one you wrote about the bicycle? I really like that one.
Yeah.
But I struggle more. I'm a bit like you, Dan, where I'm visually. I find it easier to work through things visually than to sit down and actually plot things out and write it.
Yeah.
Although I would disagree with you, Dan. I haven't read Vanguard. I don't think.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
To be honest.
Yeah.
There's another project I'm working on. I'm trying to put it together, but I find it very hard to get the pieces to link up.
Okay. There's no rush though with us. That's the thing. We don't have to rush, do we? I think the other thing as well that people have experienced, or may in the future perhaps become more visible, you know, more in the sort of public consciousness, is the fact that to write about fighting a bull, you often have to fight a bull. You know, and I think that we're lacking in life experience at the moment. We're getting everything through the same Netflix series and stuff. Yeah.
It's the fact that, because we were supposed to be doing Pre-Mortis last year, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I think although I consider myself a bit of an introvert, being in, like, when I was working but working from home, you know, you're going into the office, and as much as some people can irritate the hell out of you, being in that environment and seeing people, that sparks stories, that sparks ideas, seeing people's behaviour, what people say to you. And when you don't have that, I think sometimes it's difficult to try and muster up some stories when all you're looking at is whomever you live with, the person on the till in the local shop, and the four walls that you're in. So it's difficult to try and find those stories because you get the stories from real people, from real life a lot of the time.
Yeah.
My fucking reading's gone off a cliff face as well with books. Okay. I don't know about you guys.
Like, a lot of people are finding that with prose, aren't they? So good for us, mind you.
Yeah, I just like, no problem with the comic stuff, but like I used to read quite a few books, but now it's just don't really have the brain thing to kind of like pick up a book and start reading. It just doesn't really stick.
Yeah. I love the office environment as well. I get inspiration, and I find, and you say people are annoying in the office. I'm the annoying person in the office, H. I really like that. So if somebody walks in with a coffee, I have a thing where I go, "You write for a coffee?" And they'll go, "Yeah." You know, that's just shit like that. I just love it. I love it's like my plaything almost. You know, I miss it so much. You know,
it's also kind of like the whole thing of like a wave is like the peak and the trough, up and the down. When you're at home all the time, it's just like a flat, because
Yeah.
There's no ups and downs. I don't have to go to work to come home to relax. It's I'm at home all the time. It's
I think people are lucky because some people have a space, don't they? They can be on their own. I've got a comic room, and I refer to it as the cloister room occasionally for those old school Doctor Who fans. That's where Doctor Who used to go and feel better, if he was a bit ill. And I kind of see it a bit like that, sort of four walls of comics. And I think, so it's somewhere,
Yeah, that's the bad thing. My work computer's out by my comic work computer's out by where my work computer is. So every time I come out to this room, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, it's the work room.
Yeah.
I have to try and scrub it of that identity when...
Yeah, exactly.
We set up like the office in like one of the bedrooms, so it is a dedicated office, and we only work in it. And I record the podcast in here and stuff.
Yeah.
But we actually got the studio, the loft, kind of done up a few years ago to make it into a studio, because we wanted somewhere that could just be that. It was purely for art and purely for creating and stuff. And it's not, you're right, having that separation and having a place that you can just go to. And because it's at the top of the house as well, it's really quiet. You don't hear anything, and it's great. All my comics are up there, and and you can just go up there and like breathe out. For the first time.
That's how I feel, definitely. Yeah.
It's tough as well if you don't have all your art gear out. Like if you got to say, right, I want to do some art now, I've got to get the fucking gear out and spend half an hour. Well, it's so easy to put it off and say, I won't do it today. Yeah. Too much hassle.
When we first started painting again, we'd paint on the kitchen table. And by the time you got home from work, and then got everything out and started painting, you get you're lucky if you got half an hour.
Yeah.
Which is why I probably paint so quick, because people always used to say, fucking hell, you paint fast. Because I do paint quite quickly, physically paint quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I've only got like fucking 20 minutes. I've got to try and get as much done as I can. So it kind of made me speed up. It's like you take every minute and you just make the most, you squeeze every bit of creativity out of it.
Well, I think like H has worked for other people or collaborated with other people. I suppose that's a good motivator, isn't it? And you've done the same. You've done the same, Dame. So you've done this wrestling thing, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah. So the collaborations I've done this year, I was lucky with just going back to the thing for Sarah. I was lucky to get a message by Martin Feekins.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was chatting to Martin yesterday.
So, yeah, it was great, and it's a lovely story. I mean, hopefully it'll make the cut. But
cool.
It's very, very different to my usual style, which is the other thing I've been trying to do this year is experiment a bit more with style, and change things up a little bit. So, one of the highlights of this year really was been that I got contacted by someone saying we're from a wrestling company and. We're interested in wondering whether you'd like to do our debut comic. I was thinking, is this fucking wind up or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be fair, no, it's a company
good.
based in Liverpool, TNT Extreme, and they've got basically the way that they run is like the old territories in America, where they don't have stars signed to them, but they have stars that will freelance and come and wrestle for them. So, they've got a couple of guys that wrestle in Japan, and they come over, and they've got people who. One guy's wrestled for WWE and he comes over and things like that. So they've got this story, and it's meant to be a 5-issue arc that they've put together. And issue 1 is it'll be out probably in the next month or so.
Oh, okay.
The first issue is going into these kind of loot crate things that you can subscribe.
Oh wow, that's good, man.
There's a wrestling crate,
right?
And it's going in there. As well as to be sold, so I'm going to have some to sell, and they're going to sell some at shows that they do and things like that. But we were looking at getting it printed, and they were asking me advice because, to be fair, the guys behind it have got no idea about comics. They keep writing to me going, "What size is it again?" I keep in with the dimensions, and but that's fine. They gave me the script. I worked with them. They loved it. Fortunately, they seem to love what I gave them. They seem very happy with it.
Oh, nice.
But Loot Crate have come back because we were talking about, maybe we can look at getting it printed and send it on to them. And then they might come back and, Loot Crate are going to print their copies because they want to print a couple of thousand. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many crates is it going in?
Man, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but, and I'm pleased. I'm pleased with the work.
Oh, mate, that's great news. Yeah,
I've done as good a job as I can do. I mean, I try with everything.
It's really good, I've got to say.
I've seen a couple of little sly little things you sent me. And the thing about you, Dames, is you can capture personality in people's faces. You know, you're great at capturing, somebody. And I suppose that's what they've wanted you to do. Is it real people you're drawing?
It is, yeah. It's five known wrestlers. So we've got approval to use the likenesses and their outfits and their kind of names and all that stuff. Because I kept checking with them, before I did it, going, they have agreed to all this, haven't they? Because I'm not fucking doing
keep that email.
months of work, and then somebody goes, I'm not being in it. But no, they've been showing it to the guys, and they're all excited. They want some copies to be able to sign and sell, and so
nice.
That's what made it difficult, though, was that it had to look like them as much as I could make it look like them. So it's difficult. That Dan, it's really hard to draw likenesses, but it's really hard to draw likenesses concurrently through a book, isn't it?
Like that. Doing that Batman comic for me fucking sounds like a nightmare. All the likenesses are the same, and
you think they've got problems? I'll get fucking pal drived if they don't like what I've done. But yes, that was really exciting, and I've, like I said, finished book one. I'm waiting for them to send me a couple of adverts so I can pull all the print ready book together and send it to them to get it done. And they've already sent me the script for issue 2, and I've said, well, look, it's going to have to be next year because I've got other projects I'm working on that are going to take me to the end of the year. And I said, look, if you want to get another artist to pick up issue 2, that's absolutely fine. I'm not thinking about it. I just appreciate the opportunity to do the first one. They were like, no, we'll wait till you're ready.
Oh, good stuff, man. It sounds like you've got a good relationship. Great. What's it called again? Sorry.
It's called Dead on Arrival.
Right.
And it's basically it's set in the world of extreme wrestling, so there's lots of blood and gore and baseball bats with barbed wire and stuff.
Right. Okay.
And obviously the first issue is very much a setup issue, so there's still a lot goes on, but it's not as gory as it will continue to get. But there's a market for it, and it's fun. Yeah. It's just a bit of mindless fun, and it's
also getting you out of that bubble, man. That's what we need to. We often talk about this, getting you out of the same old the snake will eat itself bubble, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's been really, really exciting.
Good stuff.
Fantastic.
Anything else you're working on, guys? You wanted to mention? We've gone really long, by the way, so Vince is going to kill us. But
Yeah.
No, I think I've just been pretty. I mean, I'm really pleased. I've been busy with commissions. I've actually not stopped with commissions since we went into first lockdown last March.
Brilliant.
That's amazing.
Which is really good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not enough to sustain. It's not enough to sort of pay off the mortgage.
No.
It's kept me sane. In the climate of not losing my job and stuff like that. So that's really good. And I thought maybe it would go down a bit. With the climate and with people maybe losing their jobs and all the rest of it. But I've not stopped, which is really, really good. It's been really kind of.
It's a really nice gift, mate. I mean, we've got a lovely Sharknado that you did. It's just genius. Yeah.
Oh, I love drawing Sharknado.
Even though he looks quite sweet in it, he's an utter bastard.
No, he's not. Don't be me.
He reminds me of Scrappy Doo.
Yeah. He got put in the garden earlier for biting me again.
Oh man!
I was walking down the garden the other day thinking, "What's that?" And he'd bitten the back pocket of my cargo shorts and was swinging off my bum, clamped onto the back pocket.
Fucking hell!
Trouser shorts that you've.
Lucky I didn't have me Malaysian fisherman trousers, whatever they are. Yeah, they're quite.
You probably
thin.
won't bite them out of disgust.
No, they're quite thin.
Buy cheap, buy twice.
Never buy things off Instagram.
Well, I did that. Fucking bought it off.
Oh, you bought that ridiculous coat?
Facebook, yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's why I'm so. I saw a website the other day called Handsome Dan.
Oh.
Obviously, I was just searching myself up, and it had like loads of really nice clothes and stuff, and coats and jackets. And I was in the market to get a jacket, and I thought, is this fucking trustworthy? Because like the other site looked absolutely legit, and when it turned up, it was a fucking like Halloween costume. So I don't know who to ask.
The jacket you were going to buy would have made you look like something out of Highlander, and instead it looked like you were just sort of crammed into this sort of hoodie, didn't it? Yeah,
it was like that material, the felt material you'd get in a Halloween costume.
Right.
Like fucking Asda was saying, it was awful.
Don't go near a naked flame.
I was going to say,
exactly,
smoke for fuck's sake.
I was going to wear that to fucking the new June film and pretend I was a
Oh, we got to talk. I got tickets to the old June showing. We got to talk still.
Yeah,
you haven't let me know, have you? Yeah.
I wasn't going to drink for the entirety of the film, just to sort of...
I'll stick something up my nose just for the whole thing and do a poo in a bag. Just say it's. I feel like I've got a still suit on.
Yeah. Classic cinema behaviour.
Right, moving on to the shout outs. Thanks, guys. Really interesting. Genuinely, it's nice. I think it's nice to get an insight to how people have felt during this trauma that we've been through, because I kind of see it as like almost like a historical document. People won't appreciate what we've been through in maybe 20 years. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been a tough year, hasn't it?
It has.
I mean, it really has been, and it's been tougher for other people than ourselves as well. I mean, that's evident with, things that happen and you find out about things and you just think, it's been really, really difficult. It's been a really difficult year for people, and I just hope that we can get out of it sooner rather than later now and start getting some semblance of normality, just for everybody's, welfare, really.
Yeah, me too. And obviously I'm waiting for a fair day. It's not far
Well, of
off.
course, yeah, you'll be red raw, won't you?
One thing, like when this all started around, people sort of like carrying on with their lives as they normally would, and then this essentially sort of came out of nowhere for a lot of people and just absolutely turned our lives upside down.
Yeah.
And I just hope people can sort of take it in a way of like living for the moment and treating people right and doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Because it can, it can change so quickly. Your whole life, like one incident, and then everything's different.
Because you don't really appreciate just the little things, do you? And I know it sounds really cliche, appreciate all the little things in life, but it really does make you think, God, simple little things like, hugging your family.
Yeah.
We've not seen, like, Damien's family since 2019.
Yeah.
Every cloud.
I mean, we're going to come out of this and there's going to be a lot of seats missing in offices and, it's going to be quite a moment, I think. Yeah.
And another thing as well, I just hope that, because there's obviously, like you mentioned before, so there's been a lot of stuff about mental health and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of good work as well and a lot of openness from people to say, look, come and talk and don't feel you've got to struggle. And again, I know it affects everyone, particularly men, isn't it? Because there is a common problem there, that we don't talk and we do pretend that everything's all right. And, it gets you down, and in some cases it can finish you off, and it's terrible. And I just hope that message carries on, that even when things go back to whatever normal is, life's still shit at times. And things still get you down, and you can talk to people. Don't ever feel you can't. I mean, I wouldn't care if anybody I know rang me up and said I need to talk to you.
It's the old cliche, isn't it? It's like it's the only time in human history where you going, "Are you okay?" We've actually fucking meant it.
Yeah, and I hope we don't lose that bit, though. I hope we don't regress into, people feeling that they can't open up again and share concerns, because that shit kills you, that's. I just really do hope that people are a bit mindful of that when we come out of this. That people will still suffer and be struggling. It's not all going to be rosy, but
good. Right, moving on to shout outs. Daniel, have you got any, babes?
I do, yes. Let me just flick over to the related page I've got open. A Kickstarter. I've got two Kickstarters.
Okay.
The Hordes of Surrey.
That's one of mine. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll do this one then.
Yeah.
It's a story. Mike and the gang have been having a simply splendid time hunted for buried treasure. The bad news, the Order of Surrey has been watching and is poised to strike. So we've got that. It's literally just started. I think we've got another 26 days to go.
Yeah, I back. So I love Rory's art. Yeah, he's my dude. Yeah, so, definitely back that one. Good.
Rory's art taking another sort of leap and change and moving forwards.
He's one of those guys, I think, 5 minutes from, Dark Horse, someone like that. Yeah.
So that's absolutely lovely. We've got Tiger Boy versus issues 1 and 2 by Jordan Kroger, who did The Fist, which you can now read on Comic House. Looks like it's going to be delightfully eccentric and quirky. It's got a sky pirate and a red panda battle a band of road warriors and team up with a 5-year-old superhero in this fantasy action adventure. When you listen to this, you have 3 days to go on that, so go check that one. And that's made its goal, so brilliant.
Good stuff. Another one that's made its goal is Digitopia issue 3. You can catch up as well as a bundle to catch up 1, 2 and 3. I've been following it. We've been pals with Farhan for a good few years now, and he was one of the guys who turned up at the 200, so he's our buddy. He messaged me saying, it's going all right, but if you fancy giving a shout out, which is very polite and kind of him, so we thought I'll give it another shout out. I'm a big fan of his work. We interviewed him 3 years ago, I'm going to say, and he's a thoughtful dude. He's all right. Yeah, he's
Nice
good
one.
at going back that Digitopia issue 3. My last one is Drew Hurd, who's one of the Drink and Draw regulars and a buddy of ours. He's running in the Great North Run for Guide Dogs for the Blind, so a worthy cause. Find him in the Facebook group, find him on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll find the link, or he'll send you the link for the GoFundMe page. I've dropped a few quid, and so should you. Guide Dogs for the Blind is they do great work, amazing, like miraculous work. I don't know how they manage to do it, but they do it. So go and give him some money for him running the Great North Run. So good stuff. Good. What about you guys? Have you got any shout-outs? That's all, guys? Or?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I've got a couple. So one is
go for it.
Paul P.J. Johnson, fellow Wigan artist. He's about to, I think in the next week or so, he'll be dropping Razor Bastard issue 3,
right.
which is another one he's not suitable for work.
I need to get these. I need to get them.
He's great, Paul. He's fucking mad as an hatter, but he's really like that schlock horror B movie. You just kind of roll with it. But Razor Bastard's a bit different. It's a bit more layered than that. And there is actually a bit more behind what you would expect from just a kind of schlocky character. So he's a good writer, Paul. He's a bit of a dark horse on that side.
Stick the link in for me for that, will you? Because I'd love to. I think I might buy some of them. They sound good.
Yeah. And he's a thoroughly nice fella, and he's another one that he works. I think he works in a nursing home during the day,
right?
And he goes home and creates utter filth at night. But he's an absolute he's a smashing bloke as well. And the other one as well, just to mention, was I've been rereading some stuff, and I've just been rereading Automatic Girl by Luke Michael Copsey, another
creator. Yeah.
And fucking hell, his work's incredible.
Nice.
I was asking him earlier, I was saying, like, what do you use for your kind of architectural stuff? And he does a lot of his designs in Blender, and he's got a very I think you've seen his stuff, haven't you, Dan?
Yes, it's really interesting. Very different.
And I mean, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, but he had an accident at work, which meant he couldn't draw anymore. He lost the use of his drawing hand for a while, and he kind of got it back now a bit. But in the interim, he kind of had to learn how to create a different way, and that's how he got into using things like Blender and stuff like that. But Jesus, man, his work is spectacular. His pin-up work and stuff. And Automatic Girl Part 1 and 2, Part 3 is out in November. It's available from Luke Michael Copsey. You can just get in touch with him on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram, and he's still got copies available. Not many, so they're only short runs. And same with PJ Johnson as well. You can find him online, and he'll sell you filth. No problem. Just get in touch with him.
and while we're here, let's pimp Omen to that. So, what you got? You've had some guests on there, man. It's been going well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I call it sporadic because I can never organise it enough, and then things happen, and you don't always. It doesn't always go to plan. So unfortunately, I was due to actually interview Dave Evans.
I know we chatted about that, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's a real shame. I mean, he kind of, he wrote back and said, "Oh, I've never done a podcast. It's not really for me." He said, "But I actually think I should. So yeah, I'll do it." And we never quite nailed the date. We were due to record the week after, unfortunately. He'd passed away, so but that would have been really interesting. I'm still toying with an idea of maybe talking to some people about his contribution to the comics world.
Not a bad shout, man.
But not yet. I feel it's a bit. I don't want it looking like it's trying to.
Agreed.
Cash
I get you.
But,
I know it wouldn't be, but you're wise. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And the other one, I'm actually recording on Tuesday, is with Claire Hemsworth again, where we're going to look at the art of proofreading.
Claire's great. Claire proofreads my stuff. Yeah.
Because I was sort of saying to her, look, people kind of think, because she does this service, and where she'll proofread and she'll look at plot holes and stuff like that, and give you a synopsis back. And I was saying that, not being funny, but I think people think proofreading is just spell checking.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And it isn't that. There is a real art to it. So she's going to come on this week and talk to us about that. So that should be out at the weekend. And then, we've got some good guests lined up for the next few weeks. A couple more 2000 AD art droids are lined up.
Oh, nice. Oh, good.
I have got one in my back pocket that I can't say who it is yet, but I have to do it physically, apparently, because they don't do it over the phone. So when cons are back up and running, but I'll tell you after the show. But I'm really excited.
Well, tell us when H isn't listening if it's one of those sort of things. Yeah, that's fine.
It's not a lady. But yeah,
you can book some lady.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. And I think I'm also there's this other geezer coming on as well. I can't remember his name. Butcher, something.
Hey,
Butcher,
the Guns is on. Yeah.
Talk
I've been on
about
a few times, haven't I?
So.
Yeah,
that'll go downhill pretty quick, I'm sure.
Well, I was a bit embarrassed because you had Steve Sims on, who was wonderful and gave this really erudite talk about his art and how he approaches it and stuff. And then the next week was me and Adam just shouting filth at each other.
Well, you've got to have the rough with the smooth.
And did you want to give out? We'll give it out again at the end, H. But what's the address for your YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, God, you just go onto YouTube and just type in ArtNineTwo, and then it should just pop up. Yeah,
Brill. Nice one.
I mean, I must confess I haven't posted anything for a while, but mainly because I've been so busy, which I'm not complaining about at all. But it just takes time to sort of do it properly and then edit it and put it in a nice little shell kind of thing. So, but I must get back
onto that. Yeah, it's very professional looking. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cool. Well, we're going to move on to recommendations now. So, guests go first. So, who wants to go first out of the two of you, or are you doing a joint one?
I'll go first. I think H has got a different one to me, so I'll keep this very short and brief. Otherwise, Vince will shit himself again. Probably.
It'll be a 3-hour episode. It's looking like shaping up to be a 3-hour.
So mine is I've been picking up Silver Coin by Image.
I've heard good things about this. It's an anthology title, isn't it? The
first 2 issues of that. So the first one's called The Ticket, which is by Chip Zdarsky and Michael Walsh. And the second one is Girls of Summer by Kelly Thompson and Michael Walsh. So I think this has all been kind of conceived by Michael Walsh himself, because he seems to be drawing each of the episodic issues. Okay. And it's the thing I like about it is it's a standalone series of horror stories that are interconnected in the same world, all by a silver coin, which is obviously the silver coin of the title. So that's the kind of the MacGuffin, as it were. And there's something quite nice about. I mean, the art style. Michael Walsh is a great artist, anyway.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he? Yeah.
He kind of invokes in me a little bit that the Mazzucchelli Daredevil stuff. It's that kind of slightly kind of stylized, but he's a brilliant artist, and the stories. I've only read the first one and skim read the second one, but it's shaping up to be really, really good. Actually, I'm really
must get on there. A lot of people are talking about that as good stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, their pitch on it is that it's a tale of terror in a shared supernatural world interwoven with common characters and overlapping stories. And the first one's set in 1978 with a band that basically are just they'll do anything for fame. It's that kind of setup. So it's very tales of the unexpected and stuff like that. So yeah, highly recommended. I think I believe the first issue sold out super record time. I think it's on its 3rd or 4th reprint.
Oh wow, okay.
But definitely worth picking up. They're good fun.
Nice
and
one.
The second one is incredibly gory as well, and it's coming on the back of what was it? You guys were talking about Let's All Die.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Very similar vein to that.
Oh, good stuff.
Set on a camp. So yeah, that's Silver Coin, Image Comics, $3.99. Usual sort of places you can pick it up from. Definitely recommend it.
Good stuff. H.
So I've only got one to recommend, really, and it's actually by Marvel. It's the 40th anniversary covers by Chris Sprouse. Chris Sprouse. That's Sprouse thing. That's the bloody Darth Vader thing.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It's basically it's the retelling of Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this guy, this Chris Sprouse, has basically retold it in a series of covers. But what I like about it, I mean, the actual the drawing is beautiful. But I know people might not like me saying this. I think the colours and the inks are really lovely because it's been coloured and inked by different people. But when you look at the back, there's a lovely interview with him, like a Q&A. Somebody interviews him and he explains how he came about it, how he drew it, how he watched the film and took stills of the film, and how he had to send in proofs to Lucasfilms and had to do some things over and over again. But when you go further in the back again, there's some basic sort of behind the scenes drawings, and the pencils are absolutely beautiful. And I prefer the pencils to the finished work, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because I love that kind of thing. I love process pencils and seeing all the scratchy lines and all the things that haven't been sort of taken out digitally and things like that. And it's just a really lovely set of covers, just the retelling of the whole film. And but the interview stuff as well. And if I just read the interview and just saw the pencils, I'd be happy with that. But obviously, you've got all the lovely colour covers as well. And he was saying how difficult it was to try and retell a story just in stills on the covers. But it's really, really nice. So it's Chris Sprouse, and the inking was done by Carl Story, and the colour was Neeraj Menon.
Okay,
it's just really, really nice.
I like Chris Sprouse. You don't see enough of him. He did the Tom Strong stuff, which I really liked. I remember reading that.
Great. Yeah,
really good stuff.
I'm just looking through some of the images now. The book, they look great.
Ah, right.
Yeah, and he's been working on was it Age of the Rebellion? He's been doing some more Star Wars stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he's well and true in that Star Wars world, but
he's a huge Star Wars fan. If you read the Q&A, it does a little bit of background about how he got into Star Wars.
It is lovely. I bought it and then I haven't read it yet.
He did Splinter. I'm just looking him up. He did Splinter of the Mind's Eye as well, didn't he? I think.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Dark Horse. He did Star Wars Splinter of the Mind's Eye 1 to 4, 1996.
That's an old one, isn't it?
Well, I remember reading that novel thinking, fucking hell. And then they changed it all, didn't they? Yeah.
That's set between, was it New Hope and Empire?
I think so, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. But it's sort of, kind of, it can't be part of canon because when Empire comes out, it's that sort of thing, isn't it? Because it messes with, doesn't Darth Vader turn up and they won't have met him or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Completely throw it out, so,
good stuff. Daniel, what have you got, babes?
I have got friend of the show's comic that I read a couple of times during the week, and it's Moonpuke.
Oh, right. Yeah. I got this as well. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Regrettably, I didn't get it in physical copy. I always kind of miss out.
Because he only does a few, doesn't he?
Yeah. I really like Gareth's work.
Me too,
I always find it really. I don't want to sound wanky, but it speaks to me. Like, when I'm reading it, it feels genuine and it feels very
introspective,
natural,
isn't it? Almost.
Yeah. There is a real look behind like the character, and this one there's a chap called, I can't really talk about it too much without spoiling the blood thing, but it's about a guy called Jonathan and his obsession with car parks. And it's not in any way sexual, but he talks about like his life and his job, and it's very kind of humdrum, and he's a kind of a strange chap who was kind of stepped outside of society a little when he kind of looks in on it, but he has this relationship, a strange relationship with these car parks, and one in particular which becomes the focal point of the story, and you hear about his musings of how his life's going up and down, and it changes at the end. I can't really give away what happens at the end, but as I was like, bloody hell, I didn't see this coming. And then it I think, well, that's the end of the story. And then I got, there's a couple more pages, and then it kind of carries on. And it was a roller coaster ride. I really enjoyed it, and the insight and observations that Gareth makes really just rang true.
Yeah,
it was like things I would have observed, or do you know what I mean? They come across as real, like someone would think, and that this is how this character's thinking, and it makes them feel very real. The kind of the paneling doesn't necessarily reflect what's going on the page, but it holds the rhythm. And if there's 9 panels on a page, it dictates to me that's the speed at which it's read. There's a slowness to it, whereas if it's more bigger, expressive panels, it's a bit faster and fluid. So that's how I took it.
Yeah,
it just really works. I really like Gareth's stuff, and I'd recommend you check it out, which you can do so at www.gerthink, which is grthink.com.
Good. Yeah, I invested in that. I bought that. I luckily got in time and got the physical copy, and he sent me I don't know if you remember when we did the Lawless Drink and Draw, he did a Nemesis, and he sent me that as part of it.
Fantastic.
How cool was that? Yeah, really lovely.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think there's Gareth stuff's on Comic House as well. So
and on Comixology as well, I think.
And Comixology. There you
go. Mine is Vacuum Decay, issues 1 to 3. They're an anthology horror title. There's been 3 issues so far, created. But I don't know if you remember last week, I was particularly unimpressed with the horror title that I read, and I just thought it just played totally safe and popular, and it was really neutered and the opposite of what should go into, horror. There was, hugely disappointed, and 10 quid of mine down the drain. But there you go. So this came as part of the Strangest Distro distribution, and I got the 3 issues through. The most recent issue has only just come out, so it's quite cool. It's a cross between something you'd read in an EC book and the modern underground scene. It's the child of comics creator Harry Nordlinger, and it just hit that sweet spot for me where it was fucking weird. It just reads, a lot of the stories just read just plain wrong. But they're well twisted, they're well crafted twists, which I think is hard to do in a horror comic. Hard for you to, the best example of people getting it wrong this week is the Dread story in this week's prog. Are you subscribing to the prog at the moment, Damien? Are you there?
No. Hello?
No. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you dropped out then.
Oh, sorry, man. Are you subscribing to the prog at the moment, or?
No, I'm not. No. I tend to dip in and out really these days.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped subscribing a while back actually.
No worries, man. But there's a Dylan Teague story this week, which looks gorgeous. Dylan Teague's like a genius,
Oh God,
it looks amazing.
It makes me sick.
But you're reading it and you're thinking this is going somewhere. Then it doesn't go anywhere, and you think, oh, okay. But this book is full of stuff that does go somewhere. I suppose my only main problem with it is each issue is $10, which seems a little bit high for 40 pages of black and white. I've got to tell you. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through each issue, but I thought I'd choose a story from each issue. Issue 1 is a story called Way Down by Carmichael Jones. He's at Curse God. He was on Instagram. And there's some sort of aggressive granny who gets the pest control dude back, and she says, look, you haven't done your job properly, and takes him into the backyard, and there's this big sinkhole, this huge hole in the ground. So he crawls down it, pushes his way through sort of the tight underground complex that he comes across with his torch, and he discovers like a series of skeletons. And you're thinking, what the fuck's going on here? And then the ground beneath him cracks open, and he falls further into a further crevasse. So it's already playing on that. I often wonder why these people go spelunking. Who thinks that going cave diving in the darkness is fun?
Fucking mental.
Sounds awful, doesn't it?
Yeah, no way.
Looks terrible. And he falls down, he comes across, he's presented by this huge fucking head that comes out of one of the holes. And this head says things like, what good is understanding? You may be in hell. And then the last image is of him scrabbling through this maze of tunnels, just lost for the rest of his life. And you think, that's good. I like that. That's well done. Issue 2, there's a story by Jeffrey Krusiak. It's about a woman. A woman's laying in bed, and there's this sort of Christian faith healer TV show on. And I've got to find it while I'm talking to you because I need to read it to you because it's it will. I forgot quite how many vaginas there are in this comic. There's a lot. I'm just flicking through it now, and she's laying in bed, and next to her is a checkbook, and she's written a check out for sort of thousands of pounds. And then he appears, and it almost like suddenly he starts talking to her through the television, and he says, I can feel someone out there now, the character on the television, listening to us, Lord. And she is filling up with the Holy Spirit. Oh, my Lord, that feels good. Oh, Jesus, oh, God, she can feel that miracle inside her, deep inside. And you're thinking, oh, right, I see what he's doing now. I get you. They're the sort of things that people say during sex, I've heard. Is that right, Dan? And and then Life Force Styly, he begins to suck the life out of her, and then the TV goes to sort of static. And I think that is so well done. I love that so much. Yeah, it's just like creepy, told well, and it's got a sort of real 40s, 50s style to the art in it. Just really, really nice. The last one is called TV Doctor by David Enns. Or it's either Enns or Enos. I'm not sure actually. I'm just going to read. I'm just going to read the first page to you. It's not long. There's these two sort of posh blokes. They look like Frasier, in his brother in that TV series. It says, it occurs to me, never have we trespassed into our maid's bedchamber. I wonder what she could be up to. It's only natural we should know everything that goes on in our humble abode. I have taken the liberty of installing a peephole in her washroom, right through her trite wallpaper. What do you see, dear brother? What do you see? It appears she is merely bathing. Our unsuspected cleaning lady, as nude as a forest animal. You must omit no details, his brother tells him. She is using Irish Sprang soap, poor thing. All she can afford. And it just goes on like that, where they sort of stare at this woman while she's washing herself. Yeah, that's a horror story, isn't it?
Voyeuristic horror story.
Yeah, the sort of horror story that I exist in every Thursday. So it just kind of reinstalled my love of horror comics, really. It's full of sort of crazy, nasty, horrific art, incidences, ideas, stories. Eyeball eat. I've written a few down. Eyeball eating, hell demons, lesbian bumhole licking nuns, knife wielding naked ladies, electric chairs, evil popes, TV channels that predict your death. It's got to be good, isn't it? Just genius. Yeah. So there you go. That's my one. If you go to, I've got the website here, www.vacuumdecay.com. You can get a copy. I bought it through the Strangers distro, so I think I've got another one dropping on the 12th, I think. So I always try and get a load of stuff off them because it's all Harry's. They've got they really know cool. They've really got their finger on what's popular.
That fucking just goes all that stuff, doesn't it? It's just
in minutes. I told you before when I actually got that thing through from PayPal where you have to get a text through to confirm you're the right person,
Yeah.
And in that time, I lost out on 3 titles.
Oh, man.
Just in the time it took for them to text me,
Pain in the arse that now, isn't it?
Yeah. You have to pay the postage, which is why I do a chunk at a time, but it's worth it. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, very good. Look at this, super long. We've gone super long. Thanks, guys. That's brilliant. Did you want to just let us know your contact details again? H, do you want to start?
Yeah. So as far as like the business is concerned, it's on Twitter. It's ArtNineTwo. On Instagram, it's ArtNineTwo. Facebook, ArtNineTwo, and of course we've got the website www.art92.com.
Cool.
And then on Instagram as well, I've got an account which is just Helena Edwardson Art.
Good stuff.
That's it, really.
Yeah.
Good stuff, mate. Good. Dames?
I mean, like H said, we try and spur everything off Art9 and then I've got, I think, on Twitter, I think it's Damien Edwardson Art. I don't know, to be honest, but you can see me on there every morning with Marty the Wonder Dog.
Yes, I'm enjoying those.
On our morning adventures.
Yeah, good stuff. Good. He's got quite an expressive face, your dog, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's just so sweet. He's one of the best things to come out of this pandemic.
Like a lovely dog.
I'll tell you what, a picture with him is worth 1,000 slaved over paintings and drawings, I tell you.
Yeah.
He's definitely got a face for social media, definitely.
Yeah, cool. And Daniel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at VanguardComic.com.
Cool. What's the plans for the upcoming week? What have you got going on?
This upcoming week, I've got a couple of commissions on the go, so they're kind of being done in the background. Unfortunately, I can't really share them too much because if someone's paying me a bit of artwork, I don't want to splash it around unless they give me the nod.
Okay, yeah.
Like that, I've done a Hollow Girl cover for
Looks
Luke
great, man.
Cooper.
Yeah.
Cheers, and that he like shared that this week, but obviously I couldn't share that around.
Good stuff.
But if
That's
you
excellent.
Oh, cheers, dude. If you want a commission off me, please get in touch. So I've got a couple of weeks where I can squeeze it in. So let me know.
Good.
And I've had a couple of commissions off Dan, and they are as good as you would think they would be as well. So
that one I did of you and Helena were great.
it was great. It was good.
I really enjoyed that.
Brilliant.
You can also find, and get well soon, Vince. Let's say that again.
Get well
soon, babes. You can find it, Jester Diablo on Twitter. So look him up, send him some nudes on the DMs and cheer him up. While he's clearly not shitting his pants because that clearly didn't happen.
Yeah. Bum wipes.
Yeah. Put the toilet roll in the fridge for the morning.
Oh, bless him.
You can find me neverhindanything.com, or you can find me at tribute patreon.com/tribute press, which is on fire at the moment. We're just about to finish the George Mayhem strip with 4P. 4P has been a fucking duke. It's gone. I'm really pleased the way it's gone, and the ending's great. I'm over the moon, and we're going to print with that soon. So if you are on the Patreon, you'll be getting a copy of the print as well. It's a little surprise. Also, we've got some pin-ups coming. Got some pin-ups by some saucy people. Daniel, Vincenzo Bananas Hunt, and also Damien. You've done us a pin-up, which
nice.
You are a mental case, you know that, Dame. So I love you, but you did me one. You said I didn't like it enough, so I've done you another one. So you sent me another one yesterday. It's amazing. Yeah, they're both great.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about the first one I didn't quite I don't know, and you'll know this, Dan. Sometimes you do something, and H as well. You create something, and you think, it's okay, and then something about it keeps niggling you, and you keep going back, going, I'm not sure. So I hope you like the second one.
It's amazing, mate. I love it. Yeah, I sent it to 4P, and 4P just went, "What the fuck?"
Sometimes you just
I really enjoy doing that as well. Again, this thing of I want to do something a little bit different than what I would normally do. So, I'm glad you liked it, mate.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
And it's a brilliant series that you've done as well.
Thank you, mate. It's very kind of you.
Enough to get a preview of it, and it's a wonderful story. And the artwork, Thorpe stuff.
He's great. He's really leveling up, man. We're just planning something else now, and he's great to work with. I've got to recommend anyone who works with him. I recommend it. He's a good dude. Me and Falpy are working, and we do like a podcast just for the Patreon as well, which we're going to be talking about the new project, which launches in about a month, which is an ongoing 5-issue project, and I've got something by. Demetrius Zach, which launches in about 3 weeks, which is a 2-week project, called Fame, and that is another one about people who perhaps shouldn't be famous. Let's put it that way. We're quite pleased. He's a great guy to work with as well. Good stuff. If you want to reach out to the pod, you can go to awesomecomicspod@gmail.com or tony.awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. If you've got any books or events or anything like that you want to send to us, we're on Twitter @theawesomepod, facebook.com awesome comics podcast or awesome comics talk. The website is awesomecomics.podbean.com, and you can also find us on the Slack. So join the Slack, guys. It's the place where the conversation seems to be non-stop, seems to be happening there. Come over, just send me a message, and I'll send you. It's usually like a timed out link, so it times out within 24 hours. So send us that, and we can send you that. We're also available on. Sorry, mate.
We'll get you in, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be in the door. We're also available on other podcast networks. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose. Are there any other podcast networks we're on, Tony? Thanks for asking. Yes, we are. We're on Pod, Death by Erectile Dysfunction, which is a great little network.
We got another review this week, didn't we?
Did we?
Last week?
I think it was last week, that one. Unless we might have done. I haven't looked.
I'll ride high off one review for 2 weeks.
Vince has just texted me saying, how did it go? So it clearly doesn't appreciate that we've talked non-stop now for much longer than we expected.
Yeah.
We'll be getting banned again. We got banned after the first one.
Shadow banned.
So thanks, guys. That's been great and really insightful. I think that was a really good little chat we had there about the nature of lockdown and art. Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, great. Always a pleasure. Good stuff. Thanks for listening. So from Helena, Damien, myself, and Dan, have a great week. And what should they do?
Stay awesome.
Fucking hell. Proper in time. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.